Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Thursday night, time for Revolutionary Change. I'm Jen Perelman.
I'm Peter Hager, and it's a special day today.
Thank you. Yep, 55.
Is that, yeah, Jen, you are now legally able to move into one of those active senior living communities. It may just be time to get to the shuffleboard court. You'll be in the clubhouse.
Like I would ever live in a place. No, but I also want to say happy birthday to Professor Morandi. And apparently John Stitch in our chat, who's having his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, John, as well. Yes, well, there's the advantage. Senior discounts in some places. Hey,
ironic that you hear 55 and you think that, like, all I've been hearing in my head all day is I've been singing Sammy Hagar, I Can't Drive 55, like all day in my head. Like I'm thinking rock and Sammy Hagar, and you're putting me in an assisted living. I'm just saying that's kind of very interesting.
Well, you know, the way that they used to portray people as the age of 55 or 65 yesteryear looks a lot different than the way it does today in many ways, at least depending on where in the country you are. Plus, we've learned a lot of things about, especially being from Florida, overt sun exposure, how that speeds up the aging process for a lot of people. We've seen that.
Yeah, except my mom was always like, I was the little white kid at the beach with zinc oxide. Like my mom was not having any of the sun damage on me. Like she was very, you know, we were a pasty family.
Well, let's not keep them waiting because obviously they decided to come on
here.
Yeah, they are.
They're here?
Oh,
my
yeah,
parents are here?
They're here. Surprise, surprise. The parents are already ready to go.
I didn't even know they were in here when I got here. How were they here before I'm here?
Mr. and Mrs.
Don't call them that. Don't call them that. Don't call them that. For that, just no. My parents,
Mom and Dad are here. How's that?
All right, but to everyone else, it's Jay and Adele. Okay, that's their names. They're not Mr. and Mrs. E.
Here they are. Hey guys.
Hi.
Happy birthday to you.
It's like
you guys need some better lighting in there, man. You look like people that don't do podcasts.
Well, you know, it is the witching hour, is it not? Or yeah.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you. That's better. Thank
Happy
you.
Birthday, Happy birthday.
Thank you. So, people, these are my parents.
Hello.
These are the parents.
Hey guys.
Hey Peter. How are you?
Look at you, got a balloon and everything. That's so cute.
There was two of them. One flew out the car window when we opened the door.
All right, everyone's saying, now we're going to start getting everybody to pitch in.
Blow out the candle. Hold it
up.
Whoop.
Actually, I took your advice and I did go and get me a nothing but cake.
And
that was what I still have. Well, I started off with that for breakfast this morning. I decided that we should have cake for breakfast when we get up on our birthday. Because what if something happens and you don't make it all the way through the day? Remember, Dad used to say that to me, that we should start with dessert because what happens if you die?
Right, eat dessert first. You never know what could happen.
Especially now for us.
Really? Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna go, might as well enjoy what you're eating, I would suppose.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I started with cake.
Good start to the day.
You had a good day today?
Yeah, it's been a good day. It's been a good day. Got some errands done. Oh, and I have very exciting news that my very first seeds that I planted, my green bean gazebo seeds, are all starting to sprout.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so they're all coming out around the gazebo. And guys, I'm creating a green bean gazebo. This is my thought. This was my dream.
Farmer Jen.
Yeah.
I say it's a midlife crisis, except you're a little bit past midlife.
Thanks for that.
Oh, 110 would make it.
All of a sudden becoming a farmer.
I'm not a farmer. I just don't want to live near people.
Yeah.
Not really. We're calling it a farmette because it's not really. Oh, Lou hears you, I think. Hold on.
Oh, Lou, I haven't seen her in a while. I see her walking in the background. There she is.
Look, Lou, there's Grandma. Look.
There's no snacks for you, though.
No, there's no snacks. I call it a farmette. It's a farmette. Because we're not really farmers, But we're not growing crops for people. We're growing our stuff, but you know.
Well, you're growing it for yourself.
Yeah, well, we're going to donate. We have a lot of potatoes. We have a lot.
That counts. Potato farmers. I mean, I know you're not in Idaho or Montana, but hey, it still counts.
We have a lot of potatoes. We're going to have a lot of potatoes, a lot of green beans, and well, almost having onions, but we're having an ant situation in one of our beds, but that's okay. We're going to regroup. We're losing some crops, but that's okay.
The ants live there before anybody else.
No, because these are raised beds that we bought soil and put in, and it's an infestation. It's something really wrong. It's not like there's some ants. I don't no. So, but we're doing good. Yeah. So guys, what's it been like having me? I thought maybe we could even let people ask some questions in the chat for anybody who wanted. Yes, we have cucumbers, Rachel. We do have cucumbers. And there's little cukes already coming on the little plants. It's so cute. So, yeah. So I don't know. The ants were promised my bed 3,000 years ago. Look at that.
Right?
I got to tell you, it is obviously great to see you guys, and I'm assuming you've seen a lot about what's been going on. And it's interesting how our channel has, I wouldn't even necessarily say taken a different direction or any respect. I think we've always been truth seekers and truth tellers, and obviously we've marked ourselves quite succinctly in a specific lane, and it's cost us in some respects. But I would imagine that, being that you were young, and the opinions of Israel have obviously changed quite a bit recently, but I would imagine that you've seen over the course of your lives just different machinations of this concept that has been extremely blasphemous in the name of Jews. And I can imagine from your respective perspectives, coming from one of the two biggest Zionist enclaves in the United States, North Miami and Brooklyn, that you've seen quite a bit. And are you surprised it's gotten to the point that it's gotten to now?
No, I'm not really surprised. I think that was always the plan for them, was to take over, and they're trying to do it all over the world, obviously. But that's always been, that's been where they've been headed. But no, it's I'm happy to be out of there, to be honest with you. I mean, it was they make your life miserable. I mean, they're not nice people.
Yeah, and we were brainwashed as kids.
Yeah.
Everybody was a Zionist. Everybody was gung ho Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did it first occur to you, when, Dad, did you first think that what I was saying was serious? Because I know at first you were still kind of resistant to this idea of Israel being the bad guy.
You mean, oh, yeah.
What was it that you realized that it was bad?
I don't know. It's a while.
Probably you and me never stopping talking about it. I think that he had to go along with it at some point. It was sort of definitely.
Listen, they are the bad guys.
We are the bad guys.
The truth is, the United States is the bad guys.
And Israel is the bad guys. I mean, it's obvious, but not obvious to people, and good people. That's the thing that still freaks me out, is we have people that we care about that are Zionists. And it's and
they don't get it.
No, they aren't.
They just don't get it.
Or they don't want to get it. Or whatever blocks them.
They think what keeps them safe is having a state of Israel.
Yeah.
I think it's the exact opposite. I think it's making us more and more unsafe by the day.
Well, more vulnerable, absolutely. I think so. And more disliked, and people feel threatened, but yet when I look around here, it's nobody seems to be threatened by people that are just Jewish. I mean, that's just our culture. But but people that are not Zionists.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, where you are now, it's fewer and far between. You don't have that many Jews around you now.
No,
just a couple. But the problem is, Peter, you've said it a lot of times. People don't get the difference between Zionism and Judaism.
A lot of people.
It's all the same.
Well, we didn't. Well, we didn't. Like
Oh,
right, like we spent so many generations conflating those just in how it's taught in synagogue.
Yeah.
It's taught in synagogue as part of Judaism. It is.
Yeah, Shema Yisrael. It's like you stand with Israel.
Yeah.
You know, and I was born the year that Israel 1948.
And you know what the date of the birthday of Israel is, people? It is today. It is May 14th,
On your
1948.
Yeah.
My birthday, your year,
Yeah.
was the creation of the state of Zion, is what I call it.
And the good Lord above sent his only begotten daughter to earth to put a stop to this. And you may have to die for humanity's sins, Jen. You know, just remember that. You know, there's a reason you're here. Now, I've always maintained that I think Zionism is so interwoven with the worst elements of capitalism in that so much of this is about economic class. Because if you think about it, you know, if you come from a working class Jewish background, even a middle class Jewish background, it's not anywhere near as common to support the state of Israel as it is for people in the upper classes of society.
Now.
Especially.
But because, and Dad and Mom, you guys know, like my dad's family, especially, these were working people. These were working people, and they were definitely pro-Zio. Okay, but I do think it's different now. I think that now there is somewhat of a economic component.
Yeah. And I do think that, you know, Herzl and a number of those guys, Ben Gurion, you know, they took full advantage of the fears, if you will, during and following the Holocaust. I mean, obviously there were things that they were playing into, and specifically because such a significant portion of the Jewish population that was exterminated was from Eastern Europe. They knew that they could kind of move in on that territory and just say, we're going to protect you now. And in the meantime, we're gonna kill a whole lot of innocent people.
We're going to kill other people, but you'll be good.
You'll feel safe. But you'll feel safe.
Well, it's okay to exterminate the Palestinians. There's no problem with that.
Get rid of all the Arabs, right?
Arabs, right? We were taught Palestinian. I was taught that was not real.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there was no such thing as Palestinians. They were just all Arabs.
Yeah, you had to get rid of the
Well, that's
Arabs.
why when AOC, and that's why when AOC came out the other day, and we know she's going to be running for president. It's why when she came out the other day and she specifically said Gazans instead of Palestinians, it's like, don't think we don't see what you're doing. That is a deliberate move. That is somebody in your circle telling you that, hey, you know the rich Jews. And let's face it, this is also the dirty little secret about politics in the United States. The Jewish Zionists are predominantly Democrats, and the Christian Zionists are predominantly Republicans. So they split the difference. And so if you want that money, you better walk that line if you think you're going to be a player. And so that's why it is so imperative that we speak the right language about this, because we always say liberals sell empire so much better than conservatives do, because people like Trump are just out there. They just say it, no matter how grotesque and detestable it is. They'll say it and people can't ignore it. But then you have these other people that'll say it, that say it with more rosy language. And, you know, we really want what's best for them, even if they're going to get killed. And
the Democrats buy you dinner before they rape you. Okay. That's the only difference. They give you a little something to eat first. Okay.
A little something to nosh, right? Is that what you're talking about? You know.
That is what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that is what I'm talking about. And my parents, I don't think you guys watch the news, right? You guys like to not know.
No, in fact, recently I've kind of buried my head in the sand.
Again.
This government really makes me physically ill.
Yeah.
I don't even want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about it except vote, protest, those kind of things.
And even that.
And I see what's going on, and we got a fucking moron for a president.
Hey, excuse me, you're talking really, you may be Jen's parents, but you're terrible people if you're going to talk about me like that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Have a little.
No, but I understand. But do you think it's so much different than when you were younger, or are we just so much more aware of the grift?
We're more aware. Time is gone.
Both. I think that really, if you go far enough back, it wasn't as corrupt. It wasn't
No.
I don't think
There's
it
always
was.
been corruption in government, not like it is today.
Yeah, this is
Everybody, it's not Trump, it's Congress, it's all of them.
Yeah, it's both sides of the aisle. There's nobody good there. Well, there's a
I
few.
love your parents. They see it. These are
No.
good boys, guys. They
Well,
exist.
there's a few people that are good, but they're fighting an uphill battle. Well, you know, like look at Bernie. I mean, and with whatever flaws he has, what was he ever going to be able to accomplish? I mean, he had everybody against him. I mean,
I would push back on that ever so slightly, because I do believe that if Bernie had won in 16, in his first 100 days, he would have at a minimum gotten through the public option. He would have gotten something.
Yeah, there would be some policy differences, but overall, the trajectory of capitalism is the trajectory.
It's still the same. It's still the same.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Oh, the oligarchs. I mean, like, you know, and people don't even see that. It's so frustrating. You know, it's like people don't even see what's actually happening. So
No, most people don't, and they're watching mainstream media.
yeah. Yeah.
But
They don't
even
know
on
what
mainstream media, so you watch that crap, Dad, just for shits and giggles, or you used to have that on occasionally in the house. So Trump goes over to China and brings with him a whole bunch of oligarch cronies and like Marco Rubio, which
He went there on a business trip.
And so
Yes.
did they. Right.
Yeah.
So they're not there representing anybody except themselves. It's so
Right.
obvious. I mean, it's you know, and it's a family business, and they all have families. You know, so
Well,
whatever.
Well, did you know that they have more Chinese food here than they do the 5 biggest fast food restaurants combined? I mean, when he says stuff like that, I don't even know what to say. I mean, this is the leader of the free world.
You know what? But I like that he says the quiet part out loud. He's the most honest liar that's ever been in that office. He says the quiet part out loud. Like he said, we're there for the oil. We took it like pirates. Yeah, okay.
Did you see what he just said yesterday about he doesn't really give a shit about people's finances?
He doesn't care about the people.
He don't care.
I don't care about the people. You know, he's supposed to be there representing the people.
Here's what I don't know. Who thought, like, what amazes me are people, and yes, this includes people like Tucker Carlson, Peter, that supported him, that believed ever that he would ever do what he said he was going to do. I mean, I've been watching him since the 80s. What part of him and his history of being sued and screwing people over made anybody think that he would actually do any of those things? Like, that's what amuses me. Who believed him?
But that's the sin of this entire situation, which is why I'm still convinced that all of the legal, wheelings and dealings that came up about him, and that's not to say that virtually every one of them was true, but we're living in a system now, as you alluded to, Dad, that this is how the system has always been. It's just that he's so overt and such a narcissist that you can't ignore it. And so all the other things, it's like Kamala Harris. In fact, if Kamala was in there, it'd be even worse right now, because you would have a complete puppet that would be running the show. You'd have a person that wouldn't be out there making obscene commentary day in and day out, and it would just be business as usual. You can't take your eyes off of Trump when he's in there, which is why everyone is noticing all the despicable, even deplorable, dare I say that word, wheelings and dealings of the American empire on a regular basis. You cannot look away. And that is why we are never going to be the same, even after he's gone. This entire system has been exposed for what it is. And it's not the question of if we head to revolution. It's a question of when's it going to happen before enough people say, I've had enough of this.
Mom, what have you been saying to me my whole life? Like, you've been telling me your whole life forever
I'm
that you're
waiting for the revolution. I've been waiting.
That's what you always told me.
40 years. It's like I kept saying, we're going to have it any day now. I mean, I can't believe that people are so laid back.
I can't believe how many millions of people are still behind Trump.
And not only that, but I look around here, like people that we know, that liberal people, I can't call them progressive because they haven't progressed, but liberal people that really care about other people, care about poor people. I mean, like decent human beings. And they still think that if the Democrats win, things will get better. And things won't, I mean, and I can't.
But they don't get that the Democrats are just as bad as the Republicans.
No.
They think Democrats in there will save the day.
Their feelings will get better. Their anxiety will go down. It's an emotional reaction to the Democrats.
That's from and that's people of privilege. Generally, it's people that have privilege that think those things.
That's where I live. I mean, that's what the people are talking about.
I know. So for them, it's
I mean,
but this is very uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, it's like they can't believe that I don't want to like participate in Democratic fundraising and all. It's like, why don't you come to the polls? We need help at the polls. I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
If you say been there, done that, doesn't work. We're trying something else.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's like I just, I just say I've done my time. It's not for me. I mean, I'm not going to fight with them over it, but
That's my friend Travers. He is an Irishman who lives in Scotland. And he was saying,
55 to drink.
Yeah, he's being sweet to me. Don't be mean, Dad.
Well, he goes back and forth. I think only because it's your birthday, he's decided.
Yeah, he's being nice to me. Sometimes he'll torment me.
No, I think I think you're right. And I do think that this is a very unique situation that we're in right now. But the one thing that we can say, and Jen, I was actually speaking with Bassem a little while ago, the difference in what has evolved from when Jen ran against Wasserman Schultz 2 years ago to where we are now, the difference in opinion on Israel has dramatically, not a little bit, not even a lot, but in a significant way, it has changed. I mean, I can remember when you went to the Islamic Center in Boca and were speaking to these liberal Zionists and them rolling their eyes at you and having these conniption fits about, just don't know what you're talking about, till they are in such a super minority today in terms of the overall opinion. I mean, in so many ways, and just listening to Bassem talk about it, knowing what his family's been through, what they've all been through, but yet they can see that the change is happening. And to me, that is very reassuring. And
that was one of our donors in the Boca area. He's the leader. He's I want to say executive director of that Islamic Center in Boca.
Yeah. And that's why one of the things that we've also noticed, and this is credit to our good friends, Jordan Chariton and company over at Status Quo News. If you haven't been paying attention to the news, but I'm sure you've heard about this, the Zionists in New York have been doing increased land sales, not just in Gaza, but in the West Bank as well. And so people caught wind of this. And here are the people who are protesting. It's actually the Jews, the real Jews. They're the ones protesting against the Zionists. And we have a plethora of interesting interactions.
Humongous shift. My parents are not in Miami. They're in North Carolina.
North Kakalaki. And so
Candler.
We're in Asheville. the blue place in the red state.
Yeah.
Purple. It's kind of purple now, I guess. Purple.
Smoky Mountains. Love that place. Okay, so here's a little
what do
taste.
You have? What are you doing? All right, what is it?
Yeah, we're on the other side of Gaza. Yeah. And I have the Bible that says it's our land. Killing babies every day in Gaza because there's Nazi torture them every day in the name of Judaism, in the name of humanity. Yes, yes, I'm supporting. No. Get the fuck out! Gaza finish! Where's Gaza? Where's Gaza? Gaza's gone! Lebanon's gone! Houthis are gone! Are you here? You guys lost! It's over!
I'm not understanding who's who in this. I'm not understanding any of this. Where is this? What's the context?
So this is Brooklyn, and there are. Well, I'll show you. I'll give you a little bit more of this. We'll finish.
All right.
Are you here? You guys lost. It's over. I hate black people. Not Nazi. You're worse than Hitler. You're worse than Hitler.
Those with the payas and the hats and the heels. Those guys.
Yeah, but
lost the
sorry.
connection.
Sorry. What? So the guys, the Hasidics, most of them are anti-Zionist. You know that, right, Mom? The Payas, the Neturah Karta, those guys are very anti-Zionist. Most of them have been anti-Zionist.
And what do you think about Sherry over there, her family.
You know what? It's weird, but like if you go into the very Orthodox community in Jerusalem, it's called like Mea Shearim, which that's where I got spit on. Yeah. They don't serve and they don't support the Zionist state. And a lot of the Jews that were there before, they never wanted it to be a state because it's a violation of the Torah. You're not allowed to create the state before the return of the Messiah. Like it's literally a violation of the Torah. So a lot of the very Orthodox Jews, especially in Brooklyn, are very pro-Palestine. So that was like Jew on Jew violence is what that looked like to me.
The person, or I don't remember this gentleman's name, but he, in so many respects, is what you would call the spokesperson for the anti-Zionist Jewish cause. And here's what he had to say about this event.
In the final moments of this protest, I can write you the article will be tomorrow on all the news that a mob of pro-Palestinian terrorists were in the streets hitting Jews, don't let Jews praying. But we are here witnessing this protest, witnessing who was the hit, who hit who. You, John Ferrino, have the coverage, how the Zionists hit the pro-Palestinian movement. We are here because when crimes being committed in a synagogue, there is no justification. It's just making the sins more worse because they're hiding their crimes into a synagogue. This is totally wrong. This is not what Judaism is. When they're doing this in a synagogue, it's embarrassing for us as Jewish people. So therefore, it's our responsibility as Jewish people, true to our religion, to stand there and say 78 years of bloodshed, 78 years of occupation, 78 years of stealing Palestinian land, selling Palestinian land is not in our name. We are here to stand with the right side of history.
So what it is there, so I don't know if you know, Mom and Dad, they're doing these real estate land sales in synagogues where they're selling land in the West Bank that's not even legal to be sold.
They don't own it. How can they sell it?
Well, they are, and it's not only is it a violation of international law, but it's actually a violation of our own national law. Like there's so many violations, and they do it in a synagogue so that when people protest, they say, "Look at the anti-Semites."
But just the
they
fact,
fight in the synagogue.
I mean, could you imagine doing it in a synagogue? Like that is beyond. But this is also why Jen and I are on the exact same page when it comes to the separation of church and state, or synagogue and state. Like as far as I'm concerned, if you're a religious institution, you should have no tax exempt status whatsoever. The second you introduce any form of politic into your congregation, that is the end of your tax exemption status, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's got to be money in it for the synagogues. I mean, like for I mean, seriously. Why would they be doing that?
Oh, they're getting their real estate commission.
They sell seats. I mean, if they're selling the seats, and you don't.
Well, you guys know look, the Jews are not doing anything without making some money on that. There's no way.
They're not. But also here is interesting with the people, the same people I was talking about. They're all against what's going on with Gaza, with the Palestinian. I mean, everybody that I know here is very much opposed to it.
But do they support the idea of a Jewish state?
No.
Because that's generally
none of them are Jewish, by the way, either.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. They're just liberal, whatever they are. I mean, I don't know, Italians, whatever. I mean, I don't know, but yeah.
Because people still believe in the two-state theory.
Yeah, well, it's working so well.
I don't even necessarily agree that they believe in the two-state theory. I think at the end of the day, they're just trying to figure out what is the path that still allows us to extract the money from the Zionist Jewish cause. Because we can say that we're in favor, and even if in reality we're not, but politics is a dirty business. It is as dirty as it gets. And we've met so many of these people. We know they don't believe anything that comes out of their mouth. They don't believe what comes out of their mouth. They're just saying it because, I got to raise this money. And this is the only people that can give it, that allows us to compete. It's like, yeah, we get it, but it's not good enough. And this is why, as much as people say elections don't matter because Americans don't give a shit. If we as a populace actually participated in electoral politics the way they do in Europe and Asia, this would be a completely different situation here in this country. Now, it is changing but it's obviously changing at a pace that isn't necessarily suitable for anybody to
Little
change.
too late, maybe. I'm thinking.
This
Yeah.
is why they don't follow,
Yeah.
right? Because what
Look
are you going to do?
Look what just happened in Hungary with, I mean, like when
No,
the margins are that big, when people really show up, 80% of the voting public showed up to vote. That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy good, but it's crazy. And if we did that, and things maybe wouldn't look like that here. Maybe Bernie would have gotten in. I mean, like there were people that could have been helpful, but instead nobody shows up because everybody is apathetic or they just, you know, gave up. I don't know. You know, I think it's a little too late.
You might be right. And I also think that if they, not that you needed to storm the Capitol like they did on January 6th in 21, but I think that when it was clear that Bernie was being cheated, and he was cheated, no question about it.
No question.
If you did not rebel then, if you did not either walk out on the party, if you did not force some type of political mutiny, then you're giving them the smoke signal that, yeah, we'll piss and moan quite a bit, but we're not actually going to do anything about it. See,
Right.
keep doing it, which is why anybody who's playing along with the Democrats in 2026 and especially in 2028, especially since they're boosting AOC as we speak, and the very people that were against Bernie in 2016 are boosting AOC right now. David Axelrod, Neera Tanden, they're all coming out and blowing smoke up her ass. And it's like, if you can't see the scam, I can't help you, pal, because it's obvious what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to go back into that, just remember, they have super delegates. They're going to play the same game they've always played. Yeah.
They're
Super
They're
delegates.
super delegates.
Super delegates.
Yeah.
Or maybe they like
Yeah.
Vance or Rubio to be president.
Oh, it's going to be one of those two. Do you want to do the Germany story?
Yes, I do. I get this is why Jen and I will always work together, because it's like reading SES.
So you guys, have you heard this thing about that they now watermelons? This is one. I mean, I wear them anyway, but this is now
Pull up the image first.
illegal in Germany. Watermelons.
Yeah.
Is what?
Watermelons.
We see their watermelon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you're not in Germany. You're not allowed
Why?
because they're
What?
saying it's an anti-Semitic symbol.
Who
the
made
sign-
that up?
Well, because it's a sign of Palestinian resistance. So in order for Palestinians to have self-determination, we must hate Jews. See, one means the other. So if we're supporting Palestinians, then we must hate Jews. That's the
You
thing.
can't wear watermelon earring or watermelon anything. I guess no t-shirts, nothing, huh?
If Jen was in Berlin or Munich right now, walking around with those things on her ears,
get
she'd
arrested.
probably get arrested. Yeah.
It's
I mean, we
crazy.
covered a story in the UK the other day where this lady was arrested for a thought crime. Some douchebag on the train that they were on thought that he heard her say that the Holocaust wasn't real. He's like, oh no, he called the police on her and they arrested her.
Because he felt uncomfortable that she was being a Holocaust denier.
Yeah.
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
Can you
It's
buy
very
watermelons in the
crazy.
grocery
Not
store?
only that, but Rachel's concerned that if we're going to get in trouble for growing them, you know, I mean, watermelons are very subversive, apparently.
Yeah, not where you live.
I think yeah, that's true.
Yeah, not where I live. Can you
No.
buy them at the grocery store in Germany? Probably. That's what's so weird about it. I mean, I can't
Well,
imagine
that's
they're
strange.
banning the produce.
Speaking of living in Western North Carolina, and I've been saying this for a while, and Jen, I think you actually did come around to either agreeing with me outright or you
I
definitely
don't know.
agree with me now, that the only reason why this hasn't taken hold in the United States the way that it has in several parts of Europe, including what would be considered our biggest allies, like the UK, like Germany, is because this is an armed to the teeth country. This is a country that fully believes in the right to bear arms. And if you even attempt to try to pull that here, that's how you'll have your revolution. You start arresting people.
Well, that's what's happening here. You've pissed off the red team now, and the red team is armed. I can't tell you the amount of Trump voters that I'm friendly with, people that I know here, like that, they're ready to pick up their guns. That's how angry these people are. And these were people that, again, are the red team.
Right.
Yep.
But what are they angry about?
That they were lied to and manipulated, and that their money is being spent in wars overseas, and they still can't make ends meet. And
They're starting to notice. all of them, I think, or not the real maggots. I call them maggots. Not his base. Those the people that he, where was he at the villages, and they were like laughing, and he was insulting them and saying the crazy.
Yeah, he was insulting them, and they were applauding
laughing
them.
and clapping.
Yeah, no, that's
so those
what
people.
What are they saying? The Hondola? You mean like not the Hamsa? What is a Hondola? That they're what am I missing? What's the other symbol that
Maybe
they're
will explain if you scroll down. And I just wanted to piggyback on your thought. The fact of the matter is that there is a old white conservative Christian nationalist population in this country. They're all evangelicals. They're Christian Zionists, and these are the people who are comfortable that kind of like seeing people suffer in the world, and they don't. Like they kind of take certain pleasure in that, which is unbelievable, but it is what it is. So Germany's domestic intelligence services have produced a dossier detailing secular pro-Palestinian extremism in the country. The report by the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution, BFE, includes sections on anti-Semitism and secular pro-Palestinian extremism symbols and identifying marks. This is unbelievable.
Wait, no. But I want everybody to listen to this for a second, because the people gloss over these things, and this is one of those sort of media literacy moments. So anti-Semitism in secular pro-Palestinian extremism. Secular extremism doesn't exist. There's no such thing. By definition, extremists are never secular, right? Like that doesn't make any sense. So look at the lunacy of this language of this bill. Secular pro-Palestinian extreme. I've never met a secular extremist. So, Mom, you?
We're pretty secular. I mean, like,
right? Are you extremists? Well, yeah. I mean, you're not. You're. But it's just so ridiculous. But yes, go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
Secular pro-Palestinian extremism in this country is extremely heterogeneous and comprises various organizations, movements, networks, and individuals, mentioning the existence of long-standing groups and ones that formed after the lead attacks on October 7th, 23. The BFE describes these groups and individuals as being united in their hostility towards Israel, whose right to exist they regularly refuse to recognize, and against which they often agitate in a manner contrary to international understanding. How about...
You're not allowed to think that, apparently. You're not allowed to even think.
It's wrong think. This is George Orwell 1984 shit. That's what this is.
Well, Germany's in such a... I mean, they're so overcompensating because of World War II. Like Germany's always been one of the biggest gung-ho Zio supporters, and also because they're still pretty anti-Semitic there, and they don't want the Jews there. They want them in Israel.
Just put them somewhere else.
Yes, because in reality, they should have gotten a piece of Germany.
Of course.
In reality, there should have been a portion of Germany of that whole thing that was made a safe haven for Jews, like the obelisk in Russia that's that safe Jewish haven place.
Well, that's where the Berlin Wall comes into play. And obviously, let's face it, at the end of the day, they really didn't want to go to war against Germany. They wanted to go to war against Russia. They wanted to go to war against communism. That's what it always was. But, history has a very unique bend in so many respects when you learn. And you talk about all the Nazi scientists that they brought in to compete against the Soviet Union when it came to the space race and all this shit. I mean, let me tell you guys, it's not black and white. It's a lot of gray.
No. How long? Like, what are they? I want to see the other symbol that they're talking about.
Referring to protests against Israel's genocide in Gaza, Germany's BFV says that particularly in Berlin, statements or displays with anti-Israel and sometimes anti-Septic content are regularly made or displayed.
See, I have this theory, Dad, I know you'll agree with it. It's like, people are allowed to hate Jews if they want to hate Jews. You're allowed to hate people. Like, I like to know who my bigots are. I don't have a problem with that. I find it very scary that we're telling people that they can't not like certain people. Like, I don't want to be friends with people like that.
Well, I think the last bastion in the United States of the Zionist cause, of the Israel cause, is that there is still a significant portion of this country that is extremely anti-Muslim. Like, they really are. Yeah. And they play into that for all it's worth. And it still works. It doesn't work anywhere near like it used to, but there's still enough blood in the water where they can make that work. And for however much longer it works, that's what they're going to hang their hat on. German police have cracked down on pro-Palestinian protests since they began. Protests have been banned, and leading German politicians have reiterated the country's Staatsratzen, or reason of state, a principle that places support for Israel at the core of Germany's national identity. Well, considering how white nationalistic the whole concept is, I guess I can understand. It's like I guess the Third Reich never really died. Last month, police in Berlin arrested demonstrators, including minors. Footage taken over the course of multiple days showed officers forcing people to the ground, dragging them away, and aggressively restraining them. The demonstrations remained non-violent before police intervened, the footage showed. They've been arresting us for 3 years until now just because we are Palestinian and they are committed to a genocide. They are fascism. I agree with the protest.
That's kind of like what's going on here.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is what's going on here. That's the whole point. Yeah, we don't need to read this whole thing. What I want to see that symbol, what they're talking about.
How much longer is this, Colin?
How far down does this go? Israel's right to exist. Yeah, we're not talking about that. What's the symbol? That's what I don't know. If anybody knows, so the watermelon they have a problem with.
Let's just read the part that says Israel's right to exist.
It's so gross.
The BFE states in its dossier, secular pro-Palestinian extremists regularly deny Israel's right to exist. They don't have a right to exist. And it's securing its security interest in maintaining the integrity of its territory. However, it does not cite examples because there aren't any. The report features a map of Israel and the Palestinian territories. The concept of Israel's right to exist is regularly aired by its defenders, despite there being no provision in international law guaranteeing such a right to any country, with statehood generally deemed as a political rather than legal reality. While liberal democracies have typically enacted laws to protect the rights of individuals, fascist regimes such as Nazi Germany remove protections for civil rights and free speech, empowering the state and enabling its expansion. I thought they were socialist. The state of Israel has expanded since its creation by force.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Following the expulsion of 750,000 Palestinians from their homes. And its border, I thought this started October 7th, 2023. And its borders have continued to change since the genocide in Gaza began. With Israel now occupying more than half of the Strip and advancing into southern Lebanon. Boy, have they ever. Behind apparent criticism, the Israel state anti-Semitic agitation is often concealed, as no distinction is made between the actions of the Israeli state and those of the Jewish religious community, and anti-Jewish stereotypes are projected onto Israel. This statement is followed by a picture of a house in Germany sprayed with two slogans.
The Handala is the cartoon character. Now I remember. The Handala is the cartoon character of the little boy that was drawn, I want to say, from like the first Intifada. So yeah, so the symbolism of the cut watermelon. So apparently we're not allowed to have these in Germany. Well, I was never going back there anyway. So
I see. Okay, so it appears that, Colin, let me just scroll a little bit more, just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Here, the outline of the entire state of Israel is depicted in the colors of the Palestine. So that's the other thing that you can't do. That's what you can't do.
Right. You can't show Israel like Palestine is a watermelon.
Well, no, not it's two things. You can't show the watermelon, and you cannot show Israel as Palestine. You can't wear the shape of the Israel as the state of Israel in the Palestinian colors as a symbol. Apparently, that's a hate symbol as well.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Also, we're now considered terrorists because we're anti-fascist. And now they just put that new Trump, they just signed that new order, that executive order. We're considered terrorists. If you're anti-fascist, you are now considered a terrorist.
Yeah.
So does that mean that they want us to be pro-fascist?
It's bizarre.
It's so sick.
It's so bizarre. Well, just all of this is so bizarre. Where's the revolution? I keep waiting.
How was your appointment today? What'd you guys do today?
Today I went to an acupuncturist.
Oh, you went to. We found this. We found a really. We like him a lot. Like, I did some research and we came up with. I got like 4 or 5 names, and this guy won the lottery.
Yeah, he was good.
He was terrific. He was really good. So yeah,
That's nice.
I'm trying everything I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yoga and Pilates, my friend. Yoga
He's
and
not
Pilates.
doing yoga and Pilates now.
Sure, why not?
No, gonna be doing Qigong.
Oh, like Tai Chi?
Qigong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Qigong.
Qigong. Yeah,
Oh, that's
the,
fun.
Very cool.
yeah, that's kind
Is
of
he
cool.
doing it at the clubhouse?
No,
Maybe
we're
on the
doing
shuffleboard court?
it privately. We're not going to the clubhouse.
Well, it's funny. It's like after all, because
There is a club. You say that like you don't go to the clubhouse when I know you go to the clubhouse.
Go to the clubhouse.
Jen and I debate this all the time. Does it make a difference because Jerry Seinfeld is such a Zionist bastard of the
It's
worst
ruined
kind.
all of it for me. It's ruined
Really?
all of it. For me.
Jason
Yeah.
Alexander, I'm not even sure is a liberal Zionist, but he is so careful with his, like he is so afraid to, because you can tell that he wants to say, I don't like what's being done in the name of Jews, but he can't, like he doesn't want to say it because I think he's so petrified of not even a question of whether he's concerned. He's a rich man like the rest of them, but I think this really just comes down to, in so many cases, oh, if I say this, my family's never going to want to talk to me again. And it's like, get better friends, get better family.
people. Yes.
Yeah.
So you didn't know that Jerry was a total Zio lunatic?
No.
Oh, he went over and he went over to Israel and participated in like IDF fantasy camp.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I am not convinced that
That's why we don't do Festivus anymore. I cannot deal with Seinfeld is tainted. It's ruined. He's disgusting.
Yeah. I'm not convinced that they don't use real Palestinians for target practice. I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there. And if they did, you would never know it. Well, actually, you might know it, but even then, they wouldn't care because they would just do that. It is unfortunate, and I agree. But you know what? He's the worst of the entire show anyway. That whole show.
Yeah, he's the least funny of all of them. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Jerry?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the rest of them are the funny people for sure.
Well, that show's been off the air forever.
Yeah,
and
but
it's still
on
as
all the
relevant
time, but
today
I
as it
can't
was
watch
then.
it anymore. I'm ruined. So this is when I got back into the Golden Girls
That's
because
right.
I cannot abide Jerry Seinfeld.
Those are my people.
They're all dead.
I love the Golden Girls. Well, and B. Arthur was a badass.
Well, and I was even going to say, there's a difference between Jews like Jerry Seinfeld and Jews like Estelle Getty and B. Arthur. Like that is if you're talking about, again, that distinction of the working class Jew versus the elitist Jew, there really is a difference. And I wish more people would recognize that.
Don't
And
you think that exists for all people? There's a difference between
yes, I agree.
And that's the whole point. We're having a class war. This is a class war.
It's everything. It really is.
It is, absolutely. Yeah.
And considering the world that I'm in now, I've been in commercial real estate, I say it all the time. They're not all bad, but the ones that are, they truly see people beneath them as vermin. Like they're not human. Like to them, it's all a means to an end.
Yeah.
And if they can extract every last dime, nickel and dime that they can get out of them, they will do it. They don't have any qualms about it whatsoever.
Okay, before you guys leave, so guys, just tonight's weed of the day is actually this no-name stuff that my parents brought me the last time they came. So whatever this is, that was the good stuff that was in the bag. The less expensive stuff is
Was
whatever.
the less expensive?
That's the good stuff?
The less
It's
expensive
really
was
good.
better?
I
Really?
really like it. And actually, that's what we want. We need to talk about getting more of that because, we
well,
like it.
it's a-
Maybe we're
it's
just cheap potheads here. We're just cheap potheads.
Well, wait a second. When is Graham's going to be there when?
She doesn't know yet exactly.
I don't know. Probably not until June. He'll be here in June.
And Reese will probably come over, right?
He would. He was just here. Yeah.
Well, we'll come over when Graham is there.
Yeah.
And I
Good. You can bring
you
me some of this
All
weed.
right.
Well, I'll be going. I'm going to make my first trip up there in mid-July. And
Peter thinks we're anxiously awaiting him. What he really wants is good eggs. What he's waiting for is our chickens to be laying size.
Oh. Yeah.
And I'm going to bring a few fun board games with me as well.
Okay.
Gotta
You
be
think
able-
we're going to play board games?
Yes, absolutely.
Why?
That's
The
that's
empty
one of the You know, it's amazing what you guys have lived through over the course of your life. You know, living in a time today where we have completely regressed in terms of interpersonal interaction. You know, when you're able to get together with people, it's like, okay, so what are some of the things that we would do, especially in places where technology is not as necessary? Yeah, we can actually sit around and talk and play games and stuff.
You're talking to my parents like they're old people.
We are.
No, you're not. You're not really old people. You're older.
Hold on a second. They come from a time where when they were very young kids, that to have a television in your house was considered a luxury. And it wasn't big. It was this little, maybe 13-inch box.
No. The box was probably about, I don't know, 3 feet.
Well, the screen was about 13 inches.
And the screen was this big.
Yeah.
And in the back, there were tubes. It was amazing how many tubes there were.
Yeah. And it weighed like what?
And there was
100 pounds.
There was one channel.
Yeah.
And then when they came out with more than one channel, I became the remote control.
Get up and turn.
They want to know if we've smoked bowls together.
Click. What?
We have, but one, my mom's not really a smoker. She's more of a wino. And two, my dad doesn't smoke anymore. He does edibles now. So we're sort of we have though, yes. It's not some, crazy thing. But I most definitely smoke in front of my parents.
You smoke
Abdul is asking if I smoke weed. Yes, Abdul.
Just a little bit.
She used to
steal my pot.
Yeah, she knew the hiding place.
I never stole your pot.
Yes, you did. In the dead pot. Yes, you did.
No, I just knew it was there. I never stole pot. I didn't even know how to roll pot back then.
We had pipes.
She was watching
the flag.
Remember the flag?
Yeah, the flag. All right. So this will be the last story, and then I'm going to let you go because this is a good one. So why don't you tell the flag story, Mom? Because just so people have a frame of reference, when people want to know, like, why I'm so comfortable smoking a bowl. These are the people. These are the people. So tell the story.
So, the story is that when she was really little, like a toddler, 3 years old, whatever at years, what were you, a Montessori school? The nursery school?
No, that was even
Montessori school. So the Montessori teacher said, she called me in, and she was cool, Teresa. I mean, she knew what was going on in life. She calls me in and she says, listen, you really need to stop smoking weed, pot at the time, around Jennifer. She says they were sitting in the friendship circle, and she had a pencil, and she was passing it around the circle to her friends. I know, this is terrible. So I said, oh my God, that's terrible. Okay. So I go home and we say we can't smoke around her anymore because she's doing like passing to her friends. So so we decided not going to smoke anymore. Fast forward like another year or 6 months, whatever. And we had this bong that was on a shelf in our living room.
It was a bomb,
and it was red. It was red and white striped suede, and it had fringes. And
hanging
she said
from the stem, right? So it was like with the fringes hanging from the suede bomb.
Right. And she said to me, she's now maybe 3.5 and something. She says, "What do you call that?" And I looked at it, and I didn't want to say a bomb, so I told her it was a flag. Because it was red and white stripes, kind of.
And it had fringes hanging, right?
And then fringes.
And it was fine. She went for the program.
And if you back in those days, Hair was like a very popular Broadway show and musical and everything. And they had this whole thing about so that was the end of that conversation. I took the bong and I put it in a closet and behind things, and she didn't see it anymore. And we didn't talk about it, and she didn't bring it to school or talked about it.
Where is it? You guys have it still. I know you do. You guys still have it?
I don't think so.
I think we got rid of it.
Or did you lose it at the last move? Or not? You got rid of it.
We had it before the last move, but I think we don't have it. But anyway, years and years go by, and now she's in college, and she comes home over one break or something, and we're having this conversation about the old days.
I'm even older, by the way.
I know.
They don't know that.
These are the olden days.
Back then. And she comes home, and we're having a conversation talking about drug, sex, and rock and roll, or whatever it was. And she says to me, she goes, "But I really have just one question." She says, "Why did you tell me the bong was a flag?" She remembered that from like 3 or 4 years old.
Flag. But I thought it was a flag. So then, you know, when my son, for people who don't know, my older son walked in on me once in the bathroom smoking a bowl, and he asked me what it was, and I told him it was a breathing treatment, and he totally bought it. And he goes out, he walks out, he was little. And I have this very quick in my mind, fast forward to this kid being in junior high school, and they're showing the Say No to Drugs video. And he's like, "Wow, it's my mom's breathing treatment," like in the middle of the school assembly. And so I feel like you set it up. Like there was no way I was going to have to get through my life without having to explain the flag.
I know. No, that was, yeah. Or the time that he saw you at the creek in Maggie Valley.
Yeah, but he thought I was smoking cigarettes. So
he was very upset. So when he found out it was pot, he was like,
and he didn't care.
No, I know.
Well, when we were, you know, us kids of the 80s, well, Jen was a teenager in the 80s, but us
you
kids
and I are not of the same age.
Well, when the ice cream man would come around, they had the candy cigarettes where you had a little bit of that sugar pop that you could
Yeah, trying to get you ready for smoking.
Before you guys go, I want to introduce you to Steve, who's coming on because he's here. Are you ready? Steve, are you ready? So I've been having the hardest time figuring out who I wanted to invite other than you guys, because you know, well, you guys are easy. And it's hard because you know, it's like you birthed me. Yes, with a lot of drugs, and Dad wasn't even in the room. I know.
I know. All right.
That's how it was. So anyway, Steve Grumbine, who I'm bringing on, is one of the first people I ever started watching in progressive media, like long before there was like the Bernie stuff. Like this is somebody that I started watching and then finally got to meet him. And so he's one of like my OG people in this thing. And I feel like he's equally as enraged and grumpy as me. And so I feel like, I don't know, we met. So I want you to meet.
Kindred spirits. Kindred spirits.
There he is.
Hi. Hey, Steve.
Hey. Hello.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
You as well. You as well. I'm listening to your stories and I'm saying, my goodness, I think I'm guilty of this one. My kids were like, "Dad, what is that smell? It smells like a skunk." And I'm like, it's my medicine. That is Daddy's medicine. It is, by the way.
We're trying to protect them. It wasn't like an out and out lie. I mean, we just.
Yes, it was.
All right.
As somebody who has used cannabis, I can 1000% say it is medicinal. It 1000% will reduce your stress levels if you have them, if they're up there. 1000.
Right. Not just stress levels. I mean, like literally. Okay, I'm not going to say he only does it these days for medicinal reasons.
Oh,
I said I'm not going to say that.
And I do use it for medicinal reasons.
Actually, I tell him all the time, I say, there's a reason that doctors prescribe pot for cancer people, for people that are really having issues and pain related. I mean, like, well, for a lot of things. So it's an herb. And we have to respect it for what it is.
Yeah.
Except if you're big pharma, then you don't have to respect it. Then you try to kill it. That's basically.
I got to tell you, if I did not smoke weed every single night, I would be up still from 3 days ago. It's the only thing that slows my brain down enough to actually say, okay, maybe, and then I go to sleep. And so it is the only thing.
Yeah, no,
it is a wonder. It is nature's most beautiful gift.
I agree. And I think that we should do like Canada and just make it legal for the whole country, not make this state, that state. Ridiculous. I mean, it's like you can't, it's legal here, but if you drive across the state line, then you can get arrested. I mean, and nobody's arresting anybody.
Well, and here's the other problem. Now with all that Delta 8 crap, that is in places like even here in Georgia. How can they tell? Right. So they're going to take their time to arrest you to then go test it to then like, I just think it's stupid at this point.
It is stupid.
But the whole thing is stupid and you know, talk to the tobacco industry because they, you know, they're the ones.
So how's this one? We used to be able to drive over to Virginia because it was legal there.
And
so you could go to a dispensary and buy whatever. The governor changed it back, and now all the dispensaries are out of business.
He signed an executive order.
That's what happened in DC.
It's illegal now.
DC was recreational the last time I was there, and then this past time I went, they're all gone. They shut them all down.
Vote blue, guys. Just a little harder.
All right, you guys can go now. Thank you for recommending my
It was
cake.
nice meeting you all.
Meeting you.
Bye-bye.
Jen, I love you. Happy
I love you
birthday.
guys.
Happy
Okay.
birthday.
Don't
Jen.
more.
Good to
Thank
see you
you.
guys.
I'm gonna
Bye.
go eat dinner.
Go eat dinner.
Seinfeld's too good for the early bird.
My parents have always been late eaters. Like
Well, happy birthday.
honestly, thank you.
Yes.
They've always been later eaters. So now they don't eat as late as they used to, but because they were later eaters, now they've sort of like, now they're more typical time eaters, I think.
Ah. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, my parents are everyone loves Jay and Deli. Everyone loves Jay and Deli. They're very popular. They're very popular. So what's going on with you, sir? You look really good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm older. That's about all. I'm much, 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 much older.
Well, you got the
Feel it anyway.
beard. I don't know. You're looking even more sophisticated these days.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Like happily have been away from the camera now for a bit. It's been all podcast all the time, and I'll do an occasional here and there. I mean, it's hard because life is just caught up, having kids that are of a certain age, having events to do with them, having to do a lot of things that maybe I let Melanie do more of than I should have for years, and now I'm like, you know what? Nah, man, I'm not letting another minute go by. And so I spend as much time as I can with my son after, he gets home from school. And Melanie, unfortunately for her, has to drive into the office. I get to work from home. So there's a little bit of a freedom there that allows me to take on a few things. And I've done that. So it's been good for me. But it hasn't been good for my online presence, but I haven't missed it that much. It's been great. But to be fair, I will be going back. Rogue Scholar will be kicking back off after a 3-year break since my mom. It's been very, very impossible to get me it's hard to even get you to care about doing some of the stuff anymore. But then we've had an epiphany of late. It's been a very, very, it's just continued from the MMT progressive kind of thing to really diving in more so into like Gillen's and Page study from 2014. I mean, we all heard about it in 2014. We all knew about it in 2014. But I think a lot of people, just like most current events, washed it right from their brain after 2014. And we still keep going back to the well over and over and over again. Like, we can't figure out why nothing's working out for us. We can't figure out why we can't vote our way out of Gaza. We can't figure out why we can't vote our way to Medicare for all, or vote our way to not invading Iran or snatching up democratically elected leaders in Venezuela. We can't figure out why we can't do it. And, Gillen's and Page kind of let us know a long time ago, and our lying eyes should know. And I think that, my shift, my change, some of the things that have gone on behind the scenes have pushed me irrevocably left out of the electoral space.
Yeah.
And fully embracing, recognizing that the only path out is out. And I haven't paid an ounce of attention to like what this person's doing on this or what that person's doing on that. It's all going to be a lie. Nothing they say is going to be real. And I've gotten to the point now where I filter it out and I'm like, what is it that I can focus on for real progressives, for macro and cheese, for my own sanity that is actually productive, going toward doing something about this disaster that we're in. And yes, I think you had me right. I am pissed, but it's a different kind of pissed. It's not the ranting and raving kind of pissed.
Right.
Now it's more of the determined kind of pissed, determined to try to wake people up to say, it's not really a big mystery why nothing you want to happen ever happens. It's not a mystery why somehow or another there's a parliamentarian that steps in the way. It's not a mystery why there's a rotating villain. It's not a mystery. It's not a mystery anymore.
Wait, there isn't? Oh,
No.
That's
And
right.
I thought Fetterman was such an anomaly. Oh,
I know,
So-
right?
That's why I keep
know.
pointing out that we've been doing it a lot lately, just saying, listen, first it was Manchin, then it was Cinema, now it's Fetterman.
Doesn't
And
matter.
it'll be somebody else if somebody else gets
Always.
close enough where you can't get it. Because it's like I said, it's like the Geico commercial. Oh, you almost had it. You got to be quicker than that, and you'll never catch it. And that's the point.
That's right.
And
Well, think about this, right? We talked about the wrestling before. I used to always bring up the word kayfabe, right? This kind
Right.
of weird relationship between the audience and the wrestlers where they know it's not real, but they pretend for a moment that it's real, right?
Right.
But we do that with the politics. We do that with these debates. We do that with the speeches and stuff. We're very serious about it, but we know it's bullshit. We literally know it's bullshit. And so as I've gotten deeper into this, my rage has become much more laser focused, not shotgun scatter, angry at the world. It's targeted, it's focused, it's targeted straight in the line of capital. And understanding that the government itself, it literally is a representation of capital. It is a representation of the ruling elite, of the oligarchy. It is not a representation of you and I. And you put these AOCs up there and you put all these folks up there, they do a little dance and people go, oh, I love you, AOC hearts. And I love you, Bernie. Boyne, I love you, Boyne. And they need that. It's like the idea of not seeing that charade for what it is. It fundamentally violates a person's sense of who they are as a human being, that the world really isn't what I thought it was. And once you start disconnecting and reconnecting everything in the way it is, it fundamentally changes you and it changes everything about you. And I think people are terrified. You mean I can't vote my way out of this?
it's the pomp and circumstance. There's too many people
Absolutely.
that got caught up in that, and it makes them feel. First of all, it's very communal in a lot of ways. People feel like they have a connection in some respects. That's what MAGA in so many ways was about for the overwhelming majority of those people. It's the Christian nationalist Zionists that are the lunatics, even though there's millions of them out there. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that there's a solid 15 to 20 million of them that do exist nationwide. That still leaves another 50 to 60 million that are no different than the vote blue no matter whose. They're just like, oh, we're team blue, we're team red. This is our community. This is what we do. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's not going to work. And it never has, and it never will. And when you think about the real problems that are going on right now, the one thing that I would think that you probably take some solace in is that not only has the tide shifted so dramatically against Israel, but on the domestic side, most people are picking up the fact that these data centers is basically the military industrial complex putting Big Brother in every neighborhood in the entire country. There is no tangible value to this whatsoever. In fact, not only is there no tangible value to it, but it's actually as detrimental to the environment in your neck of the woods as it can possibly get. From the water, the air, the heat, it's everything. And then you have these cartoon villains like Evan O'Leary that go out there and basically show their whole ass, which is why I'm grateful for those people, because they can't sell empire. They're really bad at it. They let you see it for what it really is. But if there is a person in the empire who absolutely embodies the worst of it all, it's BlackRock and Larry Fink. And this is what this fuckhead had to say the other day.
But now, because of drone warfare, we have to relook at all forms of security and the need for rebuilding the GCC region, to rebuild it so that it's going to be in a position where it's not going to be obstructed by drone warfare. So many more things are going to have to be underground. But even here in the United States, if we're going to be building, let's say, these 1 gigawatt data centers, how do we make sure we're not protecting those $50 billion, $75 billion investments?
I hear, Steve, what is he talking about?
You know what? All I know is that we are spending money on top of money on top of money, which obviously I don't need to get into. Well, maybe I do, but I'm not going to. The taxpayer dollar shit.
Right.
The government is fully funding this stuff, fully funding it, because it's got a purpose to it. The purpose of this is both to enrich certain people, but it's also to literally control things. I mean, they came out the other day, it was a few months back, And I don't know whether it was Larry Ellison or one of the other ones. And what he said was, hey, we're watching you. You're going to be on your best behavior. We know everything you're going to be doing. So you're going to definitely be on your best behavior. I mean, they're saying the quiet part out loud. And I want to be just very, very clear. You're not voting this away.
No.
You're not voting it away, whether it's Democrats, Republicans, green. By the way, you're not voting it away if you vote green either.
No.
You're not voting it away if you vote independent. You're not voting it away if you vote for a communist, and I'm a communist. You're not voting it away if you have, it doesn't matter. You cannot, the system itself is like taking an extension cord and plugging the plug into itself, or giving you a plastic steering wheel and sitting you in the passenger side and say,
Right.
go ahead and drive the car. This is what, you know, if there's anything I can say that's mean-spirited that would remind you of the old Steve, it's just that there's a lot of morons that think they're driving the car. They really, but I don't think that they're so moronic as they are terrified of looking. It's like, have you seen, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but have you seen Wicked Part 2?
No, I didn't see either of them. I mean, I saw the theater production, but yeah.
I promise you this. I wouldn't have watched it if I didn't have kids. But more importantly, there was a song by Jeff Goldblum, okay, where the what would be the bad witch, the evil witch, but she's really
Right.
not. She's talking to him and she's saying, tell them all you have no power. Tell them the truth. And he sings a song. He's like, I could tell them all day long. They wouldn't believe it because they want to believe. They want to believe
Yep.
these lies. They want to. He goes, I could go out there and tell them everything, and they would still choose to believe. And this is what most voters in America are. They see it. I mean, their eyes see it. They see, you would never in a million years say, by the way, we're doing shit that Adolf Hitler would blush over.
Yeah.
We're doing shit that Adolf Hitler would absolutely go, wow, that's a little risky, you know, and they're like, hey, USA, woo, you know, can't wait to get out the vote. And the reality is nothing will change. You'll get a Kamala or an AOC that'll be a very, very, very different bedside manner type person, still slaughtering folks in Palestine, still slaughtering folks around the world, still literally telling you that we don't have money, so we're going to have to cut social services. We don't have this, so we're going to have to privatize your Social Security. We're going to have to get rid of these things. They're going to say it with a much nicer voice, though. So some neo-maxis and dweeby is going to say, see, we got to vote blue. It only makes sense. Look how much nicer they are than tiny hands, orange man bad. And all of it gets you the exact same outcome, bar none. I was going through my head and I was thinking about this. The SAVE program that Biden put out there. What a great idea, sort of. Intentionally put through the wrong way so it would easily be crushed, and it was. Okay, and now people had their whole lives, they started taking on debts thinking, I don't have this student debt to pay anymore. And what are they doing now? All of a sudden Trump is going to bring that tsunami through and wipe them out. As it is, we're already paying through the nose for fuel that we should not even have to be using anymore, because we should be on renewable if we really seriously were worried about the climate crisis. We're not. We're out there starting wars, folks. We're blowing up fuel refineries. We're blowing up. We're literally destroying the environment at a level that there ain't no recycling campaign that's going to fix that. Okay. There's no recycling bin at the end of the road that's going to solve this problem. And, you know, one of the beautiful stoned documentaries that I watched the other night, absolutely obliterated, the best indica moment ever. And I'm watching this show about ancient things that nobody can explain. And they're talking about all these wild, amazing stone figures that they created, that there's no way, even with all the technology we have today, that we could have built those things.
Yes.
And you know what? My son, who is all of 10 years old, starts saying, well, Dad, you know about plate tectonics? You know, the earth constantly is renewing itself. And then it goes into the lava and it doesn't exist anymore. There's no fossil of it. It's done. It's gone. So you think that we can't be wiped out immediately without any problem whatsoever? Hello.
You wait until Old Faithful. You wait until Yellowstone. Because there is a volcano that's under there that has been reported for a long time that if that thing erupts, and basically it erupts, again, the odds that it's going to happen in our lifetime, not very good. But I think they said it's somewhere between like 11,000 and 13,000 years that it erupts. And when it does, it's probably going to take out like half the United States. Like
well,
that's
just the air, the oxygen, just the overall, you know, we're going to enter into another ice age. There'll be horrible apocalyptic things, but the earth isn't going to care. And I think that's the point. There has been many iterations of whether it be human beings or other life forms that have washed, rinsed, repeated. We're not special. And I think the more you get through the kind of narcissistic, we are such an important individual, I'm so important as a person, one person, I'm so, you know, so important. And you start realizing that the earth just recycles us like we do all the other stuff.
Yeah.
That
just like
matter,
just
all
like
of us.
Said, earth is going to shake us off like a bad cold. But I will say this, when it comes to, you know, for the here and now and waking up the people, and like I said, the neoliberal scum that puts everyone to sleep is the true danger. When people like Kevin O'Leary talk like this, it's impossible to ignore it. It's impossible for people not to feel a sense of revolutionary rage.
I got it, bro.
Let me ask, though, about why taxpayers should have to pay for this if it's a private business and your tenants are some of the richest companies in the world. Why would taxpayers be required, as they now are, to subsidize this?
They don't necessarily have to do that. They just won't win any contracts. It's a competition.
But why are you getting tax breaks is my question.
Yeah, everybody, you go back and you say, what incentives can you give us to invest $15 billion in the first 1.5 gigs? That's what it takes. I have to go raise $15 billion. Well, that's just
okay, but anyone who starts a business, why should taxpayers have to pony up for that?
We don't.
They don't. But
well, of course they do. If you're getting a tax break and they're not, they're making up the difference. There's a state budget.
That's no problem. That's no problem. I can build it in Texas. I can build it in Jacksonville, Mississippi.
But why, if it's such a good business, would you be asking taxpayers to help pay for it without giving them equity in the company? Are you giving taxpayers shares?
No, the investors get the shares, but here's why they would do it.
Why would the taxpayers have to? I mean, in other words, if you want to start a business, but why am I, as a taxpayer, forced to pay for your business? I don't get it.
Well, let's forget about data centers. Let's go any manufacturing. Let's say you're going to build.
Because he's such a fuck and a half, he just can't help himself. He's such an elitist of the worst kind. And the thing about him in particular, Steve, is this is a guy that comes from a country that has universal education and healthcare. He grew up with that. And he's one of those guys that fights tooth and nail in this country for people to not have any of it. So there's a level of sociopathic narcissism out of somebody like Kevin O'Leary, but in some ways it's the blessing in disguise of Trump, because he gives platforms to people like this that typically...
He's not Mr. Wonderful.
He calls himself Mr. Wonderful.
This is Mr. Wonderful. Okay? And anybody who says otherwise just doesn't know. Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, him and Roddy Piper. I mean, they were the two original.
I saw them many good times.
That's right. The original.
I refuse to let Kevin O'Leary steal Mr. Wonderful.
Can I get on my soapbox for eighth of a second?
Yes.
So one of the big awakenings that I've had, and I call them awakenings because I've known a lot of things. I just haven't incorporated them into my analysis, into the way I live, into the way I view the world. Like I know them. I mean, like, you know, data can just spit out facts and stuff. There are a lot of people out there, read a lot of books, spit out a lot of facts, have zero analysis. Okay. What I have been working on tirelessly of late is the Gramscian element to understanding institutions and understanding cultural hegemony and why we believe what we believe and why we fight so hard to retain these things that just ain't necessarily so, right? And
Yeah.
one of the biggest things is understanding that all the institutions being government, institutions being like these departments, these NGOs, these cultural norms that we have accepted as just a way of life, the rules, the laws, all that stuff. They were not created by the people. They were created on high by the oligarchy to control and to make us believe certain things, right? It's not like they even hide it. Like, you understand how much money they spend propagandizing us, educating us in the wrong things, getting us to divert our eyes away from what matters and onto other stupid things, right? And what I have really spent a lot of time doing, and it's really hard to read, but Gramsci's Prison Notebooks, there are 3 volumes. Ironically, Pete Buttigieg's father was the one that translated them from the Italian. But it's really, really important to understand that these institutions were never about you and I. They were never about the people. These institutions, we uphold them as if they're God-breathed, like we just, oh my God, of course, red, white, and blue. I love my country. I love this and the other, right? But in reality, these things were there. They were built to keep us in line, in check, and to perform and do certain things in certain ways. And I just think it's really important that we fight and resist that. I mean, just simply resisting the programming is a revolutionary act. Speaking truth out into the world is a revolutionary act. You know, deciding to maybe skip Netflix and chill and invest your time into really reading some political theory and trying to better understand history through a dialectical lens, right? Really taking time to understand the world you're in and build community. One final thing, Peter, and I'll let you jump in. It's about building resiliency outside of this system and being able, because if you think about it, everybody says general strike, got to have a general strike.
Right.
Think about what it takes to keep people from crossing the line. Think about what it takes to keep people. I mean, if you read Che Guevara, like when you talk about the guerrilla warfare, he talked about how the people were the revolutionaries' water. The fish without the revolution, without the people, they would die. The revolutionary needs the people. And so building that community, building that resiliency, I think is the most important thing. And again, it has taken so much time to kind of grab hold of some of this shit and shift focus away from kind of that rote we're going through. Hey, we can have great things if they just understand how the monetary system works. Hey, we can have great things. These are all true things. And I want people to understand, like, MMT still matters, but I'm like the Darth Vader of MMT now. I'm no longer sitting there talking about a Green New Deal or ending student debt. I'm now showing how they are using the system to discipline us, to institute austerity, to show us, to control us, and to harm us, and to keep us at bay. Go ahead, Peter. I'm sorry.
And that is exactly why when you give people like O'Leary, who is truly a sociopathic narcissist, who truly believes in the superiority of the elites, he lets it all hang out. You can actually follow the roadmap, the yellow brick road, if you will, when he starts to go off. Capitalize the profits, socialize the losses, and he just throws it right out there for you. And when somebody, and listen, whether you like Tucker or not, Tucker is very good at what he does. He gets people to say shit in a way that if they thought about it afterwards, like, nah, I probably shouldn't have said that. And they're just thumbing you in the eye now. It's at the point where they're daring the people to rise up. That's where we're at.
I'm going to say this about Tucker, and you could do with this as you will, okay? Him and a bunch of them, they get you up to a certain point. But at the end of the day, they are still part of circling you back in the recycling bin of electoralism, of buying into the empire, buying into the thing. Even when they take an edgy position that feels, oh my God, they said that? Wow, that's so edgy, right? But what they're doing is they're coming up with an acceptable revolutionary mind, an acceptable level of discourse that takes people to feel like they're getting their ability to yell and scream or be angry. It's like, yeah, he heard me, but simultaneously not lead to anything other than right back to it. Hey, we got to start another party. Hey, we got to vote for this. Hey, and what I think is probably going to be the most important thing is when people wake up and they say, if I vote, if I don't vote, nothing will fundamentally change at all, except it will continue getting worse. These data centers will not stop being built. These wars will not stop being committed. The poverty will not stop being done. They will continue purposely making that so. They will continue predating on the global south. Even, in the freaking LSD hallucinations of the BRICS, God love the people that think the BRICS are ready to take over. But if you're doing any real meaningful digging, not just propagandizing yourself, you're going to realize that at the end of the day, the U.S. is still large and in charge. It is still large and in charge. It doesn't matter if people are buying and dropping their bonds or not. You understand?
I'm going to push back on you for a second.
Knock yourself out.
I think that the U.S. is still on top, but I actually think that position is extremely precarious in a lot of ways. And I do believe that that's where the issue of Israel becomes a significant inflection point in this country. Because I think what's happening is there's two ways that this is moving. The one way that it's moving stateside is that the America First movement, which obviously is a combination of nationalism, but it's also a form of, dare I say, progressive libertarianism that is taking over, where people truly want to make this about the American citizenry again. They're understanding that we have been the global bully since frankly, we've been the global bully since World War I. People think it's World War II, but it's actually not. It's actually been going on for well over 100 years. And we're at a point now where that side of libertarianism, which is we do not want to be involved in these forever wars, I think obviously coincides with a lot of the progressive mindset of this is obviously it's terrible in terms of what it provides to the environment economically. There's so many different layers to it in that respect. But I do think that the American populace is definitely finding its way out from underneath that in a way that we've never seen before. I was mentioning to Jen's parents before, if you look at the way that people responded when Jen was first running against Debbie the second time in the spring of 24 to where it is now, it is significantly different. Like the entire opinion of the overall population is significantly different. And then the other side of it, which is without question undeniable at this point, is that BRICS has been allowed to cultivate so much of the global stage in a way that it never could have before because of the fact that we stand side by side with Israel. And there's a lot of people now that are looking at them, whether it's China, who will definitely lead the charge, along with Russia, along with, North Korea is going to back up Iran, depending on what happens there. But clearly the global south with Brazil, who knows what's going to happen with South Africa. But you look at how this is developing right now. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, but the fact that you do have this BRICS currency that is coming to the forefront and will be backed by gold by probably 40%, there is something to be said for those options on the table where if you can get away from the US dollar being the world's hegemon currency, the second it's no longer that case, I mean, look, we're heading for some type of a serious depression anyway, but it's going to be accelerated to such an extent that I don't think anybody truly sees us coming, which is why people like you and Jen are very smart to live in rural America, learn how to actually live off the land, because the people that live in the cities, oh, they are so fucked beyond recognition. I don't even have words for it.
I'm in rural Georgia now. I have like land and I'm doing a farm. That's what I'm doing now.
Well, I'm about to do bath time for my
Yes,
son,
I know.
so I've got to
So
skedaddle.
Thank you so much for coming.
Can I leave you with just one parting word, because this
Yes.
is important to me? I understand the going narratives about the outside world and the view of BRICS. I mean, I only talk to the experts in these spaces all the time, so this is kind of what I do. And even people in China are saying, look, China would have to do an awful lot of loosening its monetary policy so that it could become part of everyone else's economies, which they're not doing and they don't want to do. Okay.
Right.
China is not trying to replace the US in this way. China is just being a good partner. They're out there they need us, ironically, to not go crazy. They don't want the empire to literally shit itself and start flailing around and doing more than what it's already doing. They're hoping they can ride this out. But at the end of the day, US, I'm telling you, it's a pipe dream. It is a pipe dream. It's about current events, recency bias, all those sorts of things.
Right.
I hope that the BRICS can actually develop away from anybody that says gold should be part of it, should be literally put to pasture and taken to a guillotine. It's the most ridiculous, stupid thing of all time, bar none. But that said, anytime, buddy, anytime. But regardless, the point is that besides being absolutely moronic and now putting another environmental hassle into the world and making another, this is why learning about currency is so unbelievably important. Not because you're going to do anything, not because you can do anything about it, but at least you'll understand the world in which you live so that you can actually fight back. And the gold standard stuff, Jesus, Lord, have mercy on my soul. It's the dumbest shit in the world. I kid you not. I used to be an LOL libertarian, so I understand the logic, okay? But in reality, don't get caught up in it. I'm telling you, these things right here are meant to take your eyes off the prize. And the prize really is the oligarchy, the global capital. These folks, one of the things Fadl Kaboub is doing right now, working deeply with Africa to make sure that they don't do any of those stupid libertarian things that will end up destroying their ability to survive. Having gold, all this stuff doesn't mean anything. All of a sudden we're pillaging and running around stealing gold from here and there. And it's not a real thing, man. It is a libertarian freaking fever dream. It's not reality. And you could say what you like, but I'm telling you, Peter, you're wrong on that one.
Even if
hey, he has to go because he has a child.
Yes.
And that he has to bathe. And
I love you guys. Happy birthday. And by the way, did you see I sent you Weather Report Suite part 1, the Grateful Dead? I sent it to you for your happy birthday song. It is Grateful Dead. It's beautiful. Listen to it. And if you don't hear that one, go out there on YouTube, find the acoustical demo. It's beautiful. Bob Weir just did it as a solo guitar. It is the most beautiful thing you'll ever hear as a Deadhead. With that, I love you guys. Peter, I love you too. Take care, you all. See you later.
Lots of love.
Be well, brother. Well,
see, I can get Grumbine to come out for my birthday. Get him out of hiding.
What happened to our... Oh, there it is. Okay, somebody decided to move it. But anyway, if you are enjoying these birthday chats, please consider going over to patreon.com/revolutionary change for as little as $5 a month. You can become a supporter of our small but mighty, despite heavily suppressed yet still growing channel. We do want to give a big shout out because we've gotten lots of super chats so far. Neogs99 with the $10. Happy
you know
birthday.
Who that is. I know who that is.
It's
Mario.
It's Mario.
It's Mario. Yeah, it's Chromium.
Hey, happy birthday, Jen, in the chat. Donate some change, y'all. Maybe some generational change. It's always good to see our OGs because we know
that was why I wanted Steve too. Steve is my OG. Like with most everything in progressive land for me started a long time ago watching Steve Grumbine in the Sane Progressive.
Pirate Justin with the $2. Wow, your parents are good-looking people, Jen.
I know.
There's something more to life than being really, really ridiculously good-looking. Steve Spates with the $2. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Steve.
Pirate Justin again with the $2. Jen, do Jen's parents want to adopt a black 42-year-old man?
Well, it would depend. What are you bringing to the table?
Oh,
Carpentry skills, plumbing skills, cooking skills. What are you bringing at the table?
Right, you got to be careful about that because this is Western North Carolina. I'm not going to say is the deep.
No. My parents, because my parents have a black friend in their neighborhood. Like, and they
have
live
a black friend. Oh,
I just mean literally in their. we live in a very small subdivision of older people in Western North Carolina. So yes, that is unusual. But my parents, it wouldn't be a thing about that you're Black as much as that you're 42. Okay, so I'm gonna say.
Marvin Farkas with the $2. Jen, what did dad? Jen, what did dad? I think I understand what you're saying.
What does he think of Randy Swine and Debbie
washer machine?
Well, my dad in general thinks that they're all garbage. He thinks they're all garbage, and my parents and my dad very purposefully does not watch what's going on because it causes him a great deal of grief and stress, and he's got some health shit, and he's just trying to enjoy his life. And I get it, and I don't begrudge them that. You know, my parents worked hard their whole life, so it's a hard one for me because I know they don't want to know.
Kimiko 1968 with the $4.99. Happy birthday, Jen.
I love black cats the most.
Lots of voodoo going on there. Pirate Justin with the $2. Oh, and by the way, happy birthday, Jen.
Thank you, Pirate Justin.
David Todd with the $4.99. I did stand-up comedy and was on first at the Punchline in Atlanta before Jeff Foxworthy, who is very funny. The Jerry Seinfeld 1989. I had won an open mic night. Very cool. Jeff Foxworthy. If you go to a family reunion to pick up chicks, you might be a redneck. Always remember that one. Winter Walsh, being a member for 2 months. Good morning, Drop Beers. Good to see you, my friend. Jim Taleb with the $5 super sticker. Always good to see you, pal. Jules with the $10. Steve, you're going to have to remind people that taxes don't go to federal government spending. The chat has been propagandized. Happy birthday.
I'll do it. If there's people in the chat that still don't understand basic MMT, we can go over it. We'll finish our super chats.
John Stitch, thank you very much for becoming a YouTube
He
member.
renewed. He's been.
Well, it still counts, doesn't it?
Yes. I'm just saying he's been a longer time supporter. He's not new to us. He's a supporter.
Jules with the $2. The BS about taxpayer dollars is bleh in here.
Okay,
yes.
so people in the chat, Jules is not liking that you're not educated.
We got
Jules,
to. Let's finish up. Hold on.
Okay.
Saucy Spice with a $9.99. I think it's the duty of religious clergy to speak out against Christian Zionism. It is a great danger of our time. And happy birthday, Jen. We would agree with you. We would agree with you 100%. The only problem is that, like so many aspects of religion, kind of like the Zio scum doing land deals in their synagogues, the overwhelming majority of Western faith, minus Muslims, is they're participating in the worst forms of capitalism. That's what these things are for. That's why I believe in the separation of church and state. That's why
they get their tax breaks. They're just tax havens.
Without
Kufi's horrible too. They're all bad.
No, Kufi is just as bad as any of them. John Hagee, as bad as anybody. And finally, Piano Man with the $10 super sticker. Great to see you, pal. Oh, and last but not least, another one of our OGs. Chris Garrett, 28 months. Happy birthday, Jen.
Thank you, Chris. So very quickly, a brief primer on modern monetary theory for people that are new here. And we have talked about this a lot on the show. I would urge you to go back and look at some clips about MMT that we've done, or anything that Steve has ever put out about it. But this is the premise, right? The United States is a currency issuer, meaning it issues its own currency, right? We don't pay to a bigger entity. There's no entity giving us dollars. So as an issuer of currency, that money gets put out into the system. That's how it goes. The taxes that we pay, they don't go anywhere. There isn't, and I say this all the time, there isn't a little old lady sitting in a room counting up all our tax dollars and then telling us what we can afford the next year. So what we pay in our tax dollars, it doesn't go anywhere. It gets deleted. It goes into the ether. And in olden times, they would have just burned it, the old currency, right? Like it doesn't go anywhere. So at the federal level, our funding of services, our funding of the war machine, it's not from the tax dollars. It's from the currency issuer. The United States government, via Congress, puts spending into existence by writing a bill that says we're funding this. and then the Treasury issues a check and that money goes out there. It isn't, oh, can we afford it based on how many tax dollars we got? No, completely unrelated. Now at the state level, tax dollars, your sales tax, that does fund spending. States are not currency issuers, so they do rely on taxes to fund their infrastructure in addition to federal subsidies. But at the federal level, your tax dollars, your income tax dollars, your federal income tax pays for nothing. It goes nowhere. It just gets taken away from you. How is that? Jules, was that a sufficient primer?
I think it was a good job.
Okay.
I also think it is imperative that people understand the most important thing about MMT is that the government spends and then it taxes. The reason why we are overdue for a revolution and why I believe that there is a big intersection between libertarianism and progressivism is because we live in a country today where we have taxation without representation times a million compared to the way it used to be. So when it comes to endless war, for example, or lack thereof, when corporate special interests completely dominate the home front and the international stage, we have no say in it whatsoever. So when Steve says it doesn't matter who you vote for, he's 1000% correct, because if you don't deal with the heart of the system, which is why when we point out what a fraud Alex actually is, it's because there's a lot of people who are still going to put their faith into her. And that is the biggest non-starter out there. The only person on Capitol Hill that I would put my faith into right now is Thomas Massie, because he's actually walking the walk. I don't know if we're going to have enough time to get to it, but Thomas Massie, his election is in 4 days. 4 goddamn days, his election. And what is he doing? He is dropping a new piece of legislation called the AIPAC Act, which is requiring the Israel lobby to register as a foreign agent. That is
and it's been brought up many times. And to some extent, that's a little performative, because I'm sure he has always supported that. I'm not questioning whether or not he supports it.
But that's him. That's him saying, I ain't not changing now, and I ain't changing then. And that takes real balls. And
it does. It's still performative, but yes, I agree.
And you know what? It's like when I went to DC, I'm like, of all the people that I told Jen, I said, if I meet anybody today, I want to meet Massie. And that's who I met. It just
when I say performative, I don't mean that Massie doesn't believe it. I know he believes it. I know he has supported that premise on other people initiating that over the past however many sessions. I know that he supports it. I just mean performative in terms of putting it up right now. It is for him to send a message. Correct. That's what I mean. I know he believes it. And
I also want to say that here's the thing about AOC if AOC is the successor to Trump, this only it reiterates the point that we are, because we have Trump, it reiterates the point that we are living in idiocracy. Like, this is idiocracy. That's where we are.
She's never getting to that point, because every time she speaks, people realize more and more how out of her league she is. She won't even make it to campaign season. She can't speak off the cuff. She can't speak off the cuff.
Now, I don't
and I'm seriously, it's annoying to me, because this is bullshit as somebody who's run for Congress twice. Okay. It's a skill.
Oh,
it is. It's a skill. It's a talent. Some people are more inherently that than others. Some people work harder at it, but it's a skill, and she doesn't have it.
And if you think about it, the best, she had first of all, she had an army of people working for her when she won the first time.
And money. And an absentee incumbent.
There are 2 reasons that she won that election. The first one is that she had a phenomenal campaign ad. There was a campaign ad that they put out that no one had really seen before. It just truly captured New York and the dissatisfaction with an absentee congressional representative that could not have been done better. And then timing. She was actually extremely well prepared for that debate against him, and he was completely unprepared for it. And because of that, she caught lightning in a bottle, and she won that election, a congressional election that if she had not been that person in that moment with all of that behind her, she would never have won any election. But Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And that's the nature of how a lot of this works. And be it as it may. What I did want to show, though, because it is your birthday.
All right.
No, it has to be very trying. And no, it's nothing like that. But I think that this young lady who is going through something very similar to what you have been going through, I think truly captures what it means to be a Jewish revolutionary in this moment we're living in right now.
I still criticize Israel. Just don't be anti-Semitic. Oh wait, but when I do it, as a Jew, as someone born with an Israeli citizenship, you call me pathetic, you call me a kappa, you call me a disgrace, you call me evil, you call me an anti-Semite, you call me a bigot, you call me a fake Jew, you call me a fake Israeli, you call me fake everything. You can only criticize Israel once you've been there. Done. You can only do it once you've been a citizen. Done. You can only do it when your family's been living there. Done. What more do you want? Oh wait, you want bootlickers. You want someone who's going to show for a government no matter what over human lives. My father died 3 weeks ago, and part of my mourning has been interrogating how he grew up and why he was the way he was. And part of it was that he was born and raised in a kibbutz and raised in a kid's house. The kids' houses were a practice in the kibbutzim that ended in the 80s, where children, some as young as 6 weeks old, were taken from their parents and raised communally by minders who were either members of the kibbutz or sometimes they were volunteers from outside the kibbutz, but they never slept at home. They didn't have a room in their parents' house, and they would see their parents maybe for a couple hours a day, depending. Sometimes they would see them at meal times in the communal dining hall. They would see them on weekends, but they were raised with other children their age, in their class, in their kitzah. And the profound psychological impact that this has had upon my father and his generation and people who are raised like this, and the impact it's had on their children. I was raised by someone who was raised like that. You think that intergenerational trauma doesn't happen? Right. Y'all call me a bigot when I talk about it, even though I'm supposedly allowed to criticize the Israeli government. You are exactly like the American Republicans you like to make fun of, supporting atrocities being committed in your name, shilling for a government who could care less about you, who sees you as nothing more than cannon fodder. It's pathetic and disgusting.
That's fine.
I can see how enthralled you are.
No, it's always good to have people who have lived experience speaking out, and the spectrum of people that have gone through an awakening and the spectrum of people that have had to alienate themselves from a lot of people in their lives, professionally and personally. It's hard. It's hard. But for me, it's been happening so much bigger than just the Zionist issue. This whole realization of where we are, what we're doing, and the people that are just not getting it. And it's harder and harder to be around people that don't see the man behind the curtain. So it's very alienate. It's hard. It's very alienating.
In retrospect, I think we still need to share these stories because I do think a lot of people are coming around to it. I mean, I think, Steve obviously had a lot of good points before, addressing this issue in particular, but the evolution on this position is really growing, which is why we as people that understand this in a way that not everybody else does, it's why we have to constantly remind people that AIPAC is not the problem. The Israel lobby is the problem. If you cut off AIPAC, there will be J Street. You cut off J Street, there's Kufi. If you cut off Kufi, there's the ADL, and so on and so forth. There's always going to be one. It is the Israel lobby, which is the whole concept of what, and this is what Massey talks about, this is what Rashida Tlaib talks about. It is all this one interconnected problem as a greater problem of the American empire. And that's why you have these people that are showing the way, so to speak. And this is another couple that also is doing the same thing.
There were definitely, incredibly intense moments. I mean, we did actually stand in front of tanks and get shot at, and times where we were assaulted by Israeli soldiers.
Stop! Be careful! Stop! Stop! You're shooting at kids.
I just have to say, it takes a lot of guts to even attempt to engage a psychopath with an AR-15. Like this guy could have shot her dead, and he would have gotten away with it. Maybe because it's a woman, I don't know. I mean, whatever it was, you know, she took one hell of a chance.
We met while we were both working over in Palestine, and then in the course of our activism, we sort of developed a romantic interest and developed our relationship after that. I remember we went to meet with Edward Said. The first thing he wanted to know was, how did we meet? Because he imagined us meeting in the trenches. So I guess our story does kind of trigger that idea in folks. But it was also, I think, we separated out to a large extent our activism from our personal lives, if that's possible.
There was a lot of local interest in our wedding because they like to project it as we're uniting across divides, because he's from a Jewish family and I'm from a Palestinian family. When our message to them was it's not religious, it's not cultural, it's not anything like that. We're all humans, and what Israel is doing is inhumane and illegal. And so a local photographer went with me to a wedding shop. The gown Toyd Araf tried on Saturday emphasized her tiny waist. I had been on a hunger strike in an Israeli prison. Adam was thinking I wouldn't make it to the wedding and probably stand him up at the altar because Israel was trying to have me sign for my deportation.
I mean, you got to be kidding me. That's the level of psychopathy that these people do, and it's the psychological trauma that they put people through. That is the weight of that is so heavy in conjunction with all of the violent terror that they inflict on people.
Yeah, well, you know what happens to people when you get married in Israel. Like it's so messed up. So for example, let's say hypothetically he had Israeli citizenship because he's an American Jew, from Brooklyn, he's living there, he could just be a citizen. So let's say he's an Israeli citizen and he marries her. Now, in Israel, it isn't that now she gets citizenship and she gets benefits. No. He loses his benefits if he wants to be with her. And if he wants to live with her, it's going to have to be over where she's allowed to live, not where he lives. She's not allowed to come. So that's just how screwed up it is there. You know, and again, I know that they're not from there.
I don't know why I got the balloons. It should have been.
It's always you. What did you even do you always get those things? I never get any of them.
Quit hating, Jen. Quit hating.
It's ridiculous.
And I said, you can't deport me. I'm a citizen. Definitely did not want them to have any way to block me from coming back. And so I refused. And if that meant that I would have to miss our wedding to refuse and be on a hunger strike, then I was going to do that. We demand that you stand down. You are responsible for the well-being of every civilian on board this vessel.
I think what I'm most impressed with is that I think she personally feels more powerful than any soldier, tank, anything that they can throw at her. That this kind of determination, this kind of unwillingness to yield demonstrates how powerful is her belief that her position is right and moral and correct.
I try to do what I can, and if the mission kind of needs me or I need to be on it, I will.
She's a badass and a half. Jeez.
Absolutely.
Woo.
I saw that. I just said, yeah, that's perfect for your birthday. Because
badassery. That's some badassery right there. Yeah.
That's spirit animal type stuff.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. No, she's awesome.
And that's why these stories have to be told. And as much as we want to highlight the people that are doing it the right way from the ground up, we also recognize that there are people, and this is why, like I said, I like to highlight Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens in particular, because obviously the bigger problem with Zionism in the United States definitely comes from the right than from the left, but they're doing it in a way where they're not going to go the revolutionary route, but they're providing you enough they're providing enough of a titanic shift at the top from an economic standpoint that you generally will not see from anybody else. And that is giving the smoke signal that, yeah, the change is going to happen. We are not necessarily the ones who are going to lead it, but we will show you how it's done.
Yeah, Maddie, we've talked about this, but I'm happy to support a flotilla. I'll get money for a flotilla. I will.
Jen won't get on the boat.
Not happening. No.
It's just not your jam.
And I am not, no, not getting
Now,
if it was a land mission, like if we had to drive across a thing and it was required, I would, it's not a scared of authority thing. I mean, no more than any, no more or less than I would be otherwise, but no, I don't vote. I am not voting for so many reasons, but I'm not voting. And let me tell you, and it isn't the bathroom thing, although the bathroom thing,
that's the reason I would have a hard time.
Sharing the bathroom thing is definitely, but again, I would suck it up. Like for something like that, I would do that. It isn't. I don't vote. There's no voting. Yes, I'm happy to be a land supporter. I'm happy to be somewhere in Greece or wherever you need to be a land supporter.
So when it comes to making some type of a change at the top, sometimes it becomes so painfully obvious that they have to do something. Now, the one thing that we know for sure is that when it comes to Israel's infiltration at the highest levels of our economic and political system, they are not just in the banking system, although obviously that's the most powerful unit that they control in conjunction with the military-industrial complex, which is why I think it is fair to say that a multinational corporation like Microsoft would definitely fall under, especially with Bill Gates, that would definitely fall under the MIC. I could definitely, what their work is and what they're doing, especially with these data centers, as we keep emphasizing, is such a problem. This is all about Big Brother. This is all about 1984 level surveillance that is about the MIC trying to control and stay as the global hegemony in conjunction with Israel. Here is a very disturbing story that just came out the other day regarding, and is, well, you'll see.
Has fired its Israel chief, Alon Haimovich, along with several senior managers following an internal investigation that found its cloud technology.
Why does he have to be so good looking? I mean, seriously.
He's handsome.
Oh, now I'm disgusted because he's not good. I'm not even understanding this story quite yet, but I know that he's the bad guy.
You know what you sound like right now? You sound like one of those guys who simps over a woman that's terrible, but she's attractive, and he's like, I can change her. I can save her. She's not lost.
Oh, no. I am in no way, shape, or form in any way ever going to think about saving, helping, fixing, mothering, otherwise being on top of a man.
There are websites on, especially on Instagram, that are devoted specifically to showing attractive women getting arrested for heinous crimes, and you have to read the commentary. Like, the commentary just gives it away. It's like, oh, she's not that bad. I know she stabbed him.
Well, I agree, Mehdi, that's true, but until I know, it's unfortunate. I mean, he looks like the guy that could come in the frame.
He looks like, you know what he looks like, Jen? You never judge a book by its cover, but he looks like the type of guy that doesn't know the meaning of the word no when it comes to women. I'm just saying, he's got that look. I'm just putting that out there. I could be wrong, but that's what
metaphorically in terms of like reminding and in charge of. Yeah.
Senior managers following an internal investigation that found its cloud technology was being used to surveil Palestinians in Gaza and the occupied West Bank. In 2021, the commander of Israel's notorious surveillance branch, Unit 8200, met directly with Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. Shortly after, the Israeli military was granted S-500 status, a top priority ranking that made it Microsoft's second largest military client globally.
Can I just say that when you put one of these top guys in this, look at this. This is like a top guy. He looks like he's cosplaying as a soldier. This
That
is
looks
like a photo
Stephen
op.
Miller.
Yeah. It's like a photo op. This ain't a real guy who's fighting on the front lines. And if
Well,
he
he
is,
very well might be. That's the problem, is that a lot of the people that it's not,
well, it's
their
women and children.
military is nothing. It's
No.
this,
That's
it's
correct.
all bombs and drones and all that. But in terms of actual infantry and like land, they're pathetic. They don't do anything else, like generally if they're not inside a tank.
Correct.
It was granted S-500 status, a top priority ranking that made it Microsoft's second largest military client globally. By 2022, the system Microsoft custom built for Unit 8200 was operational. The unit used Microsoft's Azure platform to store and analyze millions of intercepted Palestinian phone calls, according to leaked internal Microsoft documents obtained by The Guardian and Plus 972 magazine. Microsoft executives even characterized the deal as an incredibly powerful brand moment for the company. When Tel Aviv launched its war on Palestine's Gaza in October 2023, the Israeli military's use of Microsoft services exploded, jumping more than 155%. By July 2024, the volume of Palestinian data stored in Microsoft servers reached a staggering 13.6 petabytes. Intelligence sources confirmed that Israel used this data to plan and execute lethal airstrikes in Gaza. All the while, Microsoft stated publicly it had found no evidence its technology was being used to harm Palestinians.
Oh.
I mean,
But
this is
I think
these
they'll
are crimes
protest.
against humanity. Like this is the type of stuff where, like, Microsoft.
I hope these people,
stand.
look, keep documenting this shit. These people all need to get what's coming to them. And I believe that a lot of them will. A lot of them will, one way or another.
Yeah. Well, I don't use Microsoft, but then again, I use Apple, and that's not much better. So
The problem is there are no options.
that's right. That's a good point. And that's why they have us plugged in. That's why this is like the Matrix come to life.
Yes.
What
There's no way out of it.
And this is why we also talk about Palantir and how dangerous they are Big Brother. I mean, they are. Alex Karp in particular is the most dangerous billionaire on the planet today because he is a psychopath and he gets off on killing people. He says it all the time. He says, yeah, killing civilians is the cost of safety in the United States and Israel. So this is another example of that. And they gleefully do it. But I mean, there is no justification. These are crimes against humanity, period. And Microsoft,
the people that are high up in that, they will be held accountable. Now, what that looks like, I have no idea. But
so why the firings now? While Microsoft says they are the result of an ethics probe, the reality is likely more clinical: legal liability. The Israeli surveillance operation ran on servers located in the Netherlands and Ireland, putting Microsoft at massive risk under EU privacy laws. Despite years of employee protests under the banner "No Azure for Apartheid," Microsoft only acted once after launching what it called an urgent external inquiry, following a joint investigation by The Guardian and Plus 972 magazine in 2025. In the fallout, Microsoft Israel has been placed under the management of Microsoft France. On September 26, 2025, 6 major human rights organizations all sent a joint letter to Microsoft demanding that it suspend all business with the Israeli military and government bodies. Microsoft has not fully complied with these demands. Despite the firings, the ethic probe, and the confirmed surveillance, Microsoft is reportedly seeking.
Yeah.
I honest to God, I don't know if that's real or if that's AI. Like, I really don't know.
I don't know. We don't know anymore. Probably AI. Probably AI, because I'm looking at it and it looks like it's painted on, not like a flag, but it's gross.
Let me tell you, if there is a good use of AI technology, that's it right there, because that really shows the Israeli flag.
1,000%.
Yes.
Oh, that is, and let me tell you, that's what I called out when Melinda filed for divorce. I said something with the Epstein file. She knows something.
She's because again, Melinda's in that class. So
she also said in an interview that when she met Epstein, the very first and only time she met Epstein, that she got the absolute worst feeling from and was so disgusted and so repulsed by him, just had the worst and continued to be disgusted that Gates was affiliating with him.
Correct.
So, yeah.
We'll finish it up.
Definitely.
To renew its contract with Israel's Ministry of Defense later in 2026.
Yes, exactly. He was trying to figure out a way to drug her so that she didn't know he was giving her antibiotics to cure an STD that he got.
Yep.
Disgusting pig. Disgusting pig. And again, with the people drugging of the spouses, it's like it's you think of people as property when you do that, like you own her.
Well, this is the whole thing about Microsoft and why it cuts to the heart of why Palantir is so dangerous, because Karp, again, kind of like O'Leary in the way he talks about the data centers, you listen to Karp and you can just tell that the inmates are running the asylum. Like the cat's out of the bag. You don't have to hide anything. Well, at least they don't think that they have to, because they truly believe that they're above reproach. So that's why Karp will talk about mass killings of civilians as a means to an end of global power structure. Like that to him is the cost of doing business. That's how he sees it. And he does not apologize for it. He really believes it. And this is a prime example of that. And so what you're seeing here effectively, ladies and gentlemen, is that Microsoft understands that the affiliation with Israel is becoming so toxic that they now have to make some concessions. But what they're failing to understand is that you cannot make a small concession. That's not enough. It's like people see through it now and they're saying, oh, so you kicked out the one Israeli spy that was basically using Microsoft technology to target and murder Palestinian civilians? Yeah, that's not enough. The fact that you have anything to do with them whatsoever is exactly why this can't stand, and why little by little we will continue to completely disintegrate this relationship. Whatever role we can play, that is our job.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So, as we often say, let's end on a positive note. Because
you have a positive note?
Well, let's see how positive it really is. Now, this has been overstated. This has been overstated. It's not official yet, and we don't know the full details. But
is this a Francesca?
No, this is actually according to Headlines 360. Apparently, Denmark officially bans all Israeli tourists from entering the country. Now, there's been no official word. This is the only group that we're hearing it from. It is very possible that whether it's through the EU or even with the heads of state within Denmark, and there's one clip that we can play, that have basically sent a signal that they are moving away from their relationship with Israel, in whatever capacity it is. But here's what we do know. The idea that this is even being floated, the idea that this conversation is even happening, is significantly different than all the things that we've been seeing in Southeast Asia, specifically in the global South. Not that we want to take anything away from what the Asian cultures are doing, especially in places like Thailand and Vietnam. The reason this is such a big deal is because this is Northern Europe. This is white territory, serious, wealthy white territory. And they're saying, we don't want anything to do with Israel. And when countries like Denmark start saying, we don't want anything to do with Israel, that's the signal where it's like, oh, when people that look like me are starting to say, no, we don't want to have to do business with Israel, that's when you know they're running out of places to go.
Did you know what I thought also, did you know that was good news, was that a judge has ruled that the sanctions against Francesca Albanese are a violation of her rights.
Of international law, of course. Absolutely.
So now who knows if they'll pay off some upper court to overturn that, but for right now, that is not acceptable. So that was good news that I did find out yesterday. Hopefully that is something that lasts.
Amen. Colin, can you pull up that other graphic, please? So if you guys haven't seen the clip as of yet, but it is a hell of a clip. CJ Whirlman, who we both think the world of, he does really great work if you haven't checked out his show. He recently did an updated kind of expose, if you will, on international tourism. And what has been proven time and again is that Israelis are considered the worst tourists in the world by far. Like, countries do not want to deal with them. And as has been indicated in this expose, Israeli tourists are notorious for skipping lines, hogging seats, not paying for food. How about just not paying for the bill, and fighting with locals? We've been showing you guys a lot of that information on our channel that is very well documented. Jen, you have been saying that this is kind of a known thing within Jewish culture when it comes to Israelis going back decades.
Oh, yeah, no, I grew up finding, again, I have never in my life met more entitled people than Israelis. And this is going back my whole life in South Florida. So this has nothing to do with, like, this is not current. They are the most entitled, obnoxious people. So yes, it's offensive to most people to be around people that entitled. They're disgusting.
And I'm not going to say that they all look inbred like this guy, but we have shown time and again. And we
no, they might even look completely secular. That's not, I mean, and that's the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. But the one thing that we have been able to show you guys, and this is one of the reasons why we're convinced that the Israelis are truly losing control, is because there is well documented examples of them behaving abhorrently in many places outside of their country. They go into places. They have gone into Italy. Obviously, they've come into our country. They go into Mexico. They go into Thailand. They go into Vietnam. They go into all of that, Greece. They go into all of these places, and they act like they're the cock of the walk. They act like it's their country. You have to listen to our customs. We run the shit here. Remember the clip we showed about 6 months ago of the Israeli girl in the, I think it was it was like a Chinese restaurant. Our money pays for your country.
Ugh, you make her sound Russian.
Well, they probably are Russian.
No,
Ethnically, they might be.
She sounded Israeli.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you say Israeli's not real. But
the accent sounds Israeli, not Russian. They do have an accent that does not sound Russian.
Well, I can't help myself. Sometimes it comes up like that. That's what happens. But this is how they are. And so I just want to highlight, because it was behind a paywall in Haaretz, but there was an article going back to 2014, saying Israelis are the worst tourists in the world. And so there's this one. I
can go back to the 70s to assure you of that.
I would, again, you can go, like you said, you could go back prior to the first Intifada in 1987, where they've had this reputation of, if they're in your presence, you don't want to be around them. They are the worst of the worst people.
Yes. So it's never been just very entitled people, just very entitled.
Colin, grab that article real quick, please. From the Jewish Independent, and this is in September of 22, Israelis abroad give country a bad reputation. Israelis have made headlines for starting forest fires.
Yeah.
Camping in illegal areas, photographing themselves naked at sacred sites, and staging an orgy in an archaeological park. From Cyprus to Turkey, through Thailand, Peru, the UK, India, and many other destinations, the bad reputation of the Israelis almost always catches up with them. So much so that they are ranked 5th among the worst tourists in the world. Now, granted, this is a number of years ago, but we'll continue. Some hotels have unofficial policy of refusing young Israeli tourists, which, while words such as shameless, undisciplined, noisy, and demanding, said to be most common when describing travelers from the Jewish state. Luxury car rental companies also suffer from Israeli mayhem. One of my clients crashed a Bentley against a pole. He was driving at 150 kilometers and 93 miles per hour in the middle of town. Not even on a highway. This is in the middle of town they're doing this. Says Felipe Sarfati, director of the online travel agency Book Now. It was only 2 years ago that the Abraham Accords normalized relations between Israel and the United Arab Emirates also known as Dubai. At that time, Israel's foreign ministry was informing future tourists of good practices in the Muslim country with strict rules. Then the first Tel Aviv-Dubai flights began. Israeli Gil Gurvich, who owns a kosher restaurant in Dubai, extensively documents on his Instagram the excesses of his compatriots in the flagship tourist city of the Emirates. He reports, among other things, not anymore. He reports, among other things, that their poor behavior in nightclubs or in shopping centers attracts a good number of fines. And what about those who steal towels, hangers, kettles, or even lamps from their hotel rooms?
So ridiculous.
And these people have money. These aren't piss poor people. These are people with money who just steal shit.
Yeah, let me be very clear. People that are traveling abroad are people that have means.
Oh, yeah.
In general. And that's pretty, I mean, you know, generally speaking. So yeah, these are not people that are poor.
Stories of this type are legion in the UAE, but not only in the Gulf state. Wherever the Israeli tourist goes, the rules take a vacation. Israelis have a certain natural nerve. Their famous chutzpah, if you will.
I reject that entirely.
Which stands out even more when they are abroad because it is a way of being that often clashes with local norms. I was recently in Italy, and one day I saw a group of Israelis arrive at the hotel where I was staying. By the time they gave them their rooms, they made a mess at the reception. The mothers were changing their babies on the armchairs while the fathers were shouting at the older children who were running around. It was nonsense.
That sounds about right.
As we
no discipline. Children are completely unruly. Completely unruly. That's very accurate. They have no discipline.
And why is that? What is it about the culture that makes them just not discipline their kids?
Well, it's that entitlement. So that's how you end up with entitled adults, is because they raise their kids to be able to do whatever the hell they want. That is the entitlement. So I don't know. I don't know why, but it's just disgusting to be around. I've never liked it, and it's embarrassing for that to be affiliated. But I want to go back to them using the word chutzpah. That's not Hebrew. That's not Israeli. Okay, that's not that Israeli is real. Chutzpah is Yiddish. Okay, and they cannot own that shit. They don't get to own that shit. My great-grandparents all spoke Yiddish and were not from or affiliated with the state of Ziohel. So they don't get to own chutzpah.
The great news, and this is what brings the whole conversation full circle, is that when you look around, this is why we want to highlight the culture that is Israelism, if you will, or Zionism, is that the reason it's going to fall, the reason that Israel will not be able to stand in the not too distant future, is that their culture is a reflection of why they can't change, why they will not stop doing what they're doing, because this is all they know. And when it is embedded in your brain with a wealthy, protected environment that you are brought up into, that you are the chosen people and you can do no wrong, this is why they conduct themselves the way that they do. And the more we highlight this, the more we continue to keep it fresh in people's minds, you will understand why in the not too distant future, it will fall. And that is why, as the church says, Israelis hate Yiddish because it was spoken pre-Israel, and that's true.
And the Jews that went there seeking like refuge from being persecuted in their, and this is even this is prior to the Holocaust, by the way. There are people, a lot of the Zionists from persecuted communities were prior to World War II that had already been living there. But yeah, they hated the Yiddish. They forced them to, they made them forfeit speaking Yiddish, and they had to speak Hebrew. Like, this was a whole big thing. It was, they were persecuted there for speaking Yiddish. So yeah, no.
Make Jewish people speak Yiddish again. We hope you enjoyed it.
It is a dying language. It really is. There's not a lot of people that speak it anymore. Yeah.
We want to thank you all for obviously tuning in tonight, and obviously a very big happy birthday to Jen. We do have a few more super chats to get to before we get out of here. So we just want
There's
to
more cake. I got more cake.
There you go.
Well, I started the day with cake, so I'm going to end the day with cake.
That's not bad. That's a good birthday. Checkpoint Charlie with the $5. I'm not big on birthdays, but la multi-ane, I'll let you figure out what language that is.
Well, it's definitely a Latin language. It's definitely
a Romance. Italian. I'm thinking Italian is what it is.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, I guess. But I know how many languages there are, and I know that there are some that are so close. So I don't want to guess and sound like stupid, but it's definitely a Latin and a Romance-based language. So that's. I mean, for all I know, it's Portuguese.
Could be. Here's to you, Damian Thorne. Citizen Pendejo with the 20 pesos. How dares YouTube shadow ban you on your birthday, Jen? Look, we are a shadow banned channel. How is it that Do Dissidents and us have a very similar subscriber count and usually get decent clips? Do Dissidents was live earlier today. They had over 2,200 people watching on YouTube, and we get a few hundred. We're put in a corner because we are relentless about this issue, and we don't stop.
But I thought Keaton and Russell cover suffer. Oh, it's Turkish? Interesting.
Interesting. I would never have guessed that. I would not have guessed.
Are you sure, Mehdi? I don't know. That doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem like Turkish.
And finally, Citizen Bendejo with the 20 pesos. People can't see Jeffrey funded culture wars to divide us. That is what they fund. That's why when you see these issues that make absolutely no sense in terms of it becoming a prominent feature of conversation, the culture war is a distraction from the economic war. We have always said that. We will always say that, regardless of what people may think, and even if they think that these issues are important, which some of them certainly are. But no question, if you're not talking the economic downfall of American empire, then you're just not paying attention. Final thoughts, Jen? Birthday girl?
It's Romanian, but there's a song named, you guys are killing me. My thoughts on what? What would you like my thoughts on?
Final thought before we go, birthday girl.
I appreciate everybody saying such like happy birthdays to me. It's nice. I normally don't care that much about like my birthday. It's not usually a thing. Okay, so it is a Romanian phrase, literally translating to many years, but it's also a Turkish song. Okay.
Very cool.
My New Year wisdom. I can't drive 55. Like, that's all I keep hearing in my head. It's like.
And who sang can't drive 55?
I can never drive 55. And now I live somewhere where I kind of have to.
Yes, but who sang Can't Drive 55?
Sammy Hagar. What are you talking about?
Peter Hager. Sammy Hagar. Slight different spelling, but you get the idea.
No, I don't.
Smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things we ask you to do. We love you all. We appreciate you all.
What do we have coming up?
Well, Saturday night, it's not official yet. I'm trying to get, is it Tiff? I think her name is Tiffany Cianci. I'm pretty sure that that's her name. So let me confirm it. Tiffany Cianci. I'm pretty sure is her name. I am trying to get her specifically for Saturday night. So she is the Vino mom. And yeah, Tiffany Cianci. So I was right. She is actually in Eastern Kentucky right now on the ground helping out Thomas Massey's congressional campaign. Cool. and is invited a whole bunch of other content creators within a drivable distance of the congressional district, whether in Cincinnati, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, DC, you think of all those places to come and lend a hand to make sure that Massey wins on Tuesday. So hopefully she will be on, but if not,
that's
either
cool.
way.
And guys, also, thank you for being so nice to my folks. Not that I would tolerate it if anybody wasn't nice. Not that anybody would ever not be nice to my folks, because really, I mean, seriously, look how cute they are. Yes. How could you not be nice to my parents? And you've met them in person, like you know them. They're really nice, my parents.
They are. They're great people. Well, that's how you turned out okay. So
I turned out okay. And I turned out okay.
I would think so. Smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things we ask you to do. We appreciate you all. We love you all. I will see you Saturday.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine. Good night, guys.
Making balloons.